Chapter 988. After Li Nai sent the last text, he angrily slammed down his phone. Class A's noisy atmosphere instantly became silent. Young Master Li, what's wrong? I've never seen you this angry. Nan Luo Zhe casually leaned against him with an elegant smile. Nan Luo Zhe, one of the city's 4 young masters. He was handsome, rich, gentle, and had so many girlfriends that he could fill a truck, but he had never been with a single one for more than 3 days. He always used a gentle tone to accept the girl's confession and used a gentle tone to break up with them after 3 days. He was an absolute love killer, never losing to a girl. Young Master Li, what happened for you to be this angry? Mi Na pushed back the hair on her chest, and a strong perfume smell hit his nose. Scram! Li Nai tightly knit his brows. His words were concise, not giving her a chance to say anything else. The scene became very awkward. There were several girls whispering and laughing behind her, and Mi Na's expression gradually became ugly. Although she wasn't Li Nai's girlfriend, at least she was a girl who had touched his hand. She attracted the jealousy of countless noble girls, but she was happy to accept this jealousy, feeling very happy in her heart. AI, it's another person who won't turn back until she hits the wall. Didn't she touch young Master Li's hand when she was handing out homework last time, thinking that she was special in young Master Li's eyes? Now it seems like she's the same as us. Stop gossiping. Big sister Nana isn't the same as you. Yan Shui Qing glared at them. The 2 girls curled their lips. Although they weren't convinced, they didn't dare offend Mi Na. After all, she was the Mi group's young miss and had been rising among the nobles, so she wasn't someone they could offend. Mi Na rolled her eyes at the 2 girls before looking back at Li Nai. She said with a sweet smile, "Don't be angry. Isn't the next class physical education class? Young Master Li will definitely be popular. His 3-pointers are heaven-defying. Next class, everyone will stay in class." Li Nai had a cold look as he casually put his uniform over his shoulder. The white shirt had 2 buttons loosely unbuttoned, showing off his handsome and domineering appearance. No one dared to ask why, and no one dared to refute. She could only watch as Li Nai disappeared through the door before slowly following him. When they reached the field, they saw an unfamiliar figure. The girl wasn't wearing a school uniform. She was wearing a simple white sweater and clean cloth shoes. Her skin was as clean as snow. The moment she stood in the snow, she looked like a pure lily. It was simple, clean, and comfortable to look at. Of course, this was Luo Qingqian's first impression of the male students. The first impression she gave to her female classmates was, "How pretentious! How pretentious! How pretentious!" Li Nai had his hands in his pocket as he walked over to her step by step. There was a bit of flaxen in his dark hair, a clean white shirt, a school jacket over his shoulders, and a neat black bow tie. His arrogant eyes revealed an insufferably arrogant look, and there was even a hint of anger in his eyes. If it wasn't for the fact that she already knew what kind of person was walking towards her, she might have been dazzled by his handsomeness. There was a kind of youth that came out of his painting. There was no arrogance, no black-bellied, and no devil's poisonous tongue. There was only cleanliness and silence. Chapter 989. Give me the things. He stood in front of her and slowly opened his slender hands as a sparkle appeared in his eyes. The ancients say, "One hand for the money, one hand for the goods." You came empty-handed. What a joke. Luo Qingqian crossed her arms and pursed her lips. She had a faint smile on her face, but she was actually very angry in her heart. His looks really weren't bad, but his temper was really bad. She had to teach him a lesson. Female pervert. You're not embarrassed to say that you're not a pervert. Where are the things in your LV bag? Li Nai looked at her with a thoughtful gaze as his lips curled into a smile of deep meaning. She was clearly a female pervert, but she still pretended to be a pure little girl. Didn't she find it strange? Although he had to admit that the person in front of him dressed like this. They look a bit good. Luo Qingqian felt like she had hit a bottleneck for the first time. This was all Han Zaizi's fault. If it wasn't for his stupid thoughts, how could she have lost? You have nothing to say. Li Nai saw that her cheeks were a bit red and narrowed his eyes. You should admit that you forced a kiss on me at the airport. It was true that his heart wasn't good, but he couldn't accept having this kind of body contact with any girl. Although he missed the scent of her when she leaned over, as well as the softness of her strawberry-colored lips. What was he thinking? Wasn't this the time for a serious negotiation? How would he think of this? Lee Sinai shook his head and looked at Luo Qingshan in front of him. How about it? Do you have anything to say? Of course there is, she answered his question almost instantly. Her eyes were filled with anger and a faint light. She put her hands in her pocket and walked over to Lee Sinai step by step. There was no one else on the field other than the two of them, but there were many people outside. Some were whispering to each other, and some took out their phones to take pictures. It was very lively. Who is that girl? Why isn't she wearing her uniform? Who knows? She might like our young master Li AI. What a scheming girl. It's obvious that he's a commoner. Mi Xuan Na is going to die from anger. Just now, young master Si scolded Mi Xuan Na because of this commoner. Mi Xuan Na heard this and glared fiercely at Luo Qingshan in the middle of the field. Her right fist clenched tighter and tighter. The idiotic crowd could feel the raging fire burning on her body, and they all shut their mouths. After all, Mi Xuan Na was a first-rank noble. Her status and identity were incomparable to ordinary nobles. Although it couldn't be said that he was afraid of her, why did he have to throw himself into the line of fire? At the same time, in the middle of the field, Luo Qingshan was standing in front of Li Sinai. She looked at him with a taunting and clear smile. Mr. Li Sinai, did you really think that I was forcing a kiss on you at the airport? He was slightly startled. He didn't know why, but he suddenly felt a little nervous, an inexplicable nervousness. She was even more nervous than when she was arguing with him. But he was very calm on the surface as he narrowed his beautiful eyes. Could it be that it wasn't? Luo Qingshan gave a chuckle. She took her right hand out of her pocket and quickly grabbed his black bow tie, pulling him towards her. She stood on her tiptoes and kissed him without another word. Chapter 990. Li Sinai was a bit stunned on the spot. His beautiful eyes trembled and his heart couldn't stop beating. After a while, Luo Qingshan's right hand let go. She pushed him and looked up. This is called a kiss. At this moment, everyone in the surroundings was in a frenzy. A group of Li Sinai's fans wildly ran to the middle of the field, cursing while running with fierce looks on their faces. It was like they were shouting in their hearts, "Let go of that handsome guy. Let me do it." Until Li Sinai pursed his lips and his deep eyes stared right at Luo Qingshan. His right hand pointed at the crowd and angrily roared, "All scram for me. If anyone dares take a step forward, they don't need to come to the Imperial City tomorrow." His voice was very good. Even if it was a roar, it had a low and magnetic quality to it. As soon as his voice fell, there was silence all around. No one dared to take a step forward. They just silently watched from afar. Li Sinai lowered his head, and his right hand raised Luo Qingshan's chin. His slender fingers were a bit cold, and the blue diamond sparkled, as his every move was filled with dominance. Li Sinai, have never lost in my life. I don't need you to teach me what a kiss is. In the next second, his left hand gently circled around her waist while his right hand circled around her neck. Almost without any hesitation, he kissed those strawberry-like lips. He easily broke through all of her defenses, and a faint taste of strawberries filled his mouth. At that moment, the one in a daze was no longer Li Sinai, but rather Luo Qingshan. She wanted to act high and mighty to teach this arrogant man the difference between a kiss and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. In the end, she was taught the opposite. After a long time, he reluctantly let go of her. His eyes were suddenly no longer filled with hostility and anger, but with a touch of gentleness unknown to others. He looked at her and said, "Idiot, don't you think my teaching method is more standard than yours?" He didn't know why he did this. If it was in the past, if a girl met him, he would definitely roar and ask the bodyguards to kick her out of the school. But today, even he felt that he had become a little strange. It was as if he had enjoyed that kiss, enjoyed the faint scent of strawberries, and enjoyed her slightly angry look. She suddenly felt that the creatures called girls seemed to have changed in his eyes. Li Sinai. Luo Qingshan bit her lip and clenched her fists. She took a deep breath and pretended to be calm as she said, "Such an inexperienced kiss, and you call yourself an experienced love master." Her eyebrows moved slightly as she chuckled and continued, "Could this be your first kiss?" "Luo Qingchen, what did you say?" Li Xinai almost flew into a rage when he heard this. He felt like he was about to take back some ground, but the other side's words made him fall back to square one. Where did this girl come from to be so arrogant? Why are you calling me by my full name? Luo Qingchen angrily looked at him. How rude. Hey, you're clearly calling me by my full name. All right. Li Xinai pulled down his black bow tie before continuing. You're the rude one. I'm too lazy to talk to you. You're making me hungry. Goodbye. She looked around and saw that there were more and more people, reaching over 100 people. Chapter 991. But she didn't know that Li Xinai would grab the back of her hand and say, I'm also very hungry. After being angered to death, if he didn't take advantage of this commoner, how could he explain himself? As soon as he said this, his eyes fell onto the blue diamond ring on her right hand, and his heart skipped a beat. This ring. He slightly knit his brows as he looked at Luo Qingchen with a deep gaze. She raised her hand and looked at him. Do you know where it came from? Luo Qingchen naturally knew that the other half of her mother's ring was in Li Xinai's hands, but she didn't fully understand the meaning of fate. But at this moment, she could clearly feel it. When Li Xinai saw the other half of the ring, there was a trace of sadness that flashed in his eyes. Although it was quickly covered up as he said with a deep laugh, I'll tell you if you treat me to a meal. Luo Qingchen rolled her eyes at him as she muttered in her heart. A rich second generation actually wants him to treat her to a meal. Is there a mistake? But the first thing she had to do was leave this place. There would be students watching soon. Even the teachers and principal would be here. Deal. Luo Qingchen cleared her throat. But I'll choose the place. Then the one who was speechless was Li Xinai. Luo Qingchen easily followed Li Xinai out of the school gate. After all, the Li group had the highest shares in the Royal Academy. So whether it was the teachers or the principal, they couldn't stop him. Luo Qingchen sat in the passenger seat of Li Xinai's luxurious Maserati, looking through her phone while directing Li Xinai forward. Li Xinai wanted to kick the person in the passenger seat out, but he had to endure it. Let's do it here. She looked to the side and saw an old Japanese store, as her lips curled into a faint smile. Are you certain there's a hotel here? Li Xinai looked around. There were low houses and some 20-year-old villages. It was a rather remote place in a city. This kind of place, Li Xinai wouldn't come here even once in several years. Young master, this is not the city center. Luo Qingchen opened the car door and said, Get off if you want to fill your stomach. I'm not going. Li Xinai raised a brow, looking like a storm was coming. How could a young master like him eat in a place like this? It was beneath his status. It's up to you whether you want to eat or not. Luo Qingchen rolled her eyes at him and got out of the car. She didn't forget to add, I invited you. Don't blame me for not inviting you if you don't come. You. Li Xinai closed his eyes and seriously tapped the steering wheel before finally deciding to get out. He must have ordered a lot of food. Even if he didn't eat, he would make sure that his commoner's wallet wouldn't be able to win. This shop was a very famous shop in Pujiao. The decoration outside was very ordinary, and even the signboard was very old. However, when he walked inside, he could feel that the interior of the shop was decorated in a unique style. Because of the time, the shop was relatively empty. The boss warmly came forward and gave him the menu. This old man just came back from the docks. The things are very fresh. This little girl is in luck. Thank you. Luo Qingchen took the menu and politely gave it to Li Xinai. What do you want to eat? Li Xinai knit his brows. The first thing he looked at was the price, before looking at Luo Qingchen with a proud look. Do you commoners eat things at this price? Chapter 992. Shut up. Luo Qingchen glared at him. She didn't know why Li Xinai didn't angrily complain. He just muttered, How do I eat this? The boss's expression was a bit awkward, naturally knowing that the other side was looking down on their things. Eat it if you don't want, don't regret it. Luo Qingchen took the menu and said to the boss with a smile, I want a bowl of Japanese fried ramen, tempura prawns, fried pork chop, osakiyaki, and 2 bottles of drinks. Thank you. All right, please wait a minute. Are you a pig? You're eating this much by yourself. Nai couldn't help being a bit surprised when he saw the thing she ordered. She was clearly a bit thin. He never thought that she could eat this much. What's the last sentence about the sea being immeasurable? Luo Qingshan made a face at him. Don't be greedy when the time comes. I'm not eating. 15 minutes later, the fragrance of the food filled the small Japanese store. Luo Qingshan took a deep breath and swallowed her saliva before saying, So hungry, so hungry. You can't eat this much even if you're hungry. Who cares? Luo Qingshan looked over Nai. He was clearly drooling, but he was pretending to be reserved. Miss, your Japanese fried ramen. The boss's eyes had a bit of confidence and a bit of nervousness. After all, when people question their price, she always wanted to use her dishes to prove that they could eat different delicacies at this price. A plate of fragrant fried ramen was brought over. Luo Qingshan picked up a fork and took a large bite. The fragrance filled the air, and her taste buds jumped on her tongue. Although it was normal noodles, it was covered in a sweet and salty sauce and tender chicken. The first bite made people feel that this was the true taste of Japanese fried ramen. God, is it really that good? Nai pursed his lips, and his stomach growled. Exaggerated. Luo Qingshan couldn't help but feel that he was cute when he pretended to be a gentleman, even though he clearly wanted to try. She raised her hand slightly and handed the roll to his mouth, saying, You'll know if it tastes good after you try it. If it's not good, let's go to a 5-star hotel. Don't go back on your word. Nai was about to open his mouth, but he thought of something and said, You're using your fork and you're using mine. Wouldn't we be indirectly kissing? He never shared a knife and fork with anyone. Every dish was served on separate plates. He was a clean freak. What a joke. Luo Qingshan rolled her eyes, put her hand slightly forward, and rubbed the noodles on his thin lips. You say it as if we haven't kissed directly. Nai was speechless. Puff. Boss Nian heard their conversation and couldn't help but chuckle. What a sweet couple. Luo Qingshan was speechless. Nai could only obediently open his mouth and eat a large mouthful of Japanese fried ramen. Luo Qingshan could clearly feel the change in his eyes and the speed at which he chewed. She took back her fork and was prepared to keep eating. Nai grabbed her wrist and said, Eat something else. He said this while putting the bowl of Japanese fried ramen in front of him, picking up his fork and eating it bite by bite. Chapter 993. Can't you order a bowl yourself? Luo Qingshan swallowed a mouthful of saliva. She also wanted to eat it, all right. Just order one. Nai ate while giving the boss a thumbs up. Why aren't you ordering one? You'll have to wait if you order one. MMP. Luo Qingshan was about to pick up the tempura prawns. Nai was a step faster than her and took the prawns in her hand. It was dipped in the delicious Japanese mustard sauce, looking and smelling great. How about it? Is it good? Luo Qingshan was too lazy to steal from him, so her lips couldn't help curling into a faint smile. He didn't reply to her and just said with a nod, Your taste for food isn't bad. I'm not proud of your praise. She ate a mouthful of pork chop rice with sauce and looked at him with a serious look. It's just that you don't seem like a girl at all when it comes to insulting people. Nai looked up. His eyes couldn't help falling onto her lips covered in sauce, and his heart skipped a beat. This feeling was very strange. There was an urge to wipe the sauce off her lips. Moreover, he didn't use a tissue or his hand. Nai gave her the tissue in his hand. Wipe it, you're like a cat. Luo Qingshan took the tissue and threw it away before taking a large mouthful of pork chop rice. She didn't forget to say in a muffled voice, Why do you like giving people nicknames? What female pervert? What idiot? What cat? What mess? What a mess. This isn't a nickname. Nai was half full as he lazily leaned back in his chair. This is called seeking truth from facts. Scram. Luo Qingshan narrowed her eyes. I've already treated you, and you've already eaten. As the saying goes, those who take advantage of others have soft mouths. Let's get back to the main topic. They came out to eat because of the origin of the ring, not because they were good friends who were holding hands and eating together. Okay? Cuckoo. Nai heard this and took a sip of his drink before seriously looking over her. You really don't seem like the girl grandfather described. Grandpa often talked about the girl who had this ring. He said that her mother and his mother were very close friends. Grandpa? Luo Qingchun narrowed her eyes. The chairman of the Li group? Unhumph. Li Sinai looked at her ring and said, "Didn't you want to know the origin of this ring?" He paused for a moment before continuing. "It's called destiny. Get to the point." She pursed her lips and said, "Why is there such a ring, and why do we each have one?" "Your mother didn't tell you?" Li Sinai gave a shrug. "The one who designed this ring was my mother. This was his mother's last work in this world, and she had named it Destiny." "Oh." Luo Qingchun gave a thoughtful nod before she remembered what Luo once had said to her. This was her last work before she died, and it was the work she was most satisfied with. "It is indeed a great design," she said. "No matter what, thank you for your explanation." As soon as her voice fell, she put the money on the table and left the Japanese restaurant without looking back. Ding! Affection has increased by 20. Mission completion rate is now 0%. Chapter 994. Ding Ling. Her phone rang, and Luo Qingchun heard Su Xiaoxiao's soft and anxious voice when she picked it up. "Qingchun, where are you?" Su Xiaoxiao lowered her voice and said, "Teacher Gu found out that you skipped class. She's very angry." Luo Qingchun was surprised before remembering that it was still class time. Li Sinai wouldn't be scolded by the teacher, but that didn't mean she wouldn't be scolded, right? "Got it. I'll head back now." Luo Qingchun never thought that the one waiting for her when she returned to class wasn't Teacher Gu, but rather, right, it's her. She actually forcefully kissed our young Master Li. So disgusting. That's right. But she isn't your young Master Li. I'm against this. Big Sister Nana. This girl is clearly a white lotus trying to stick to young Master Li. Look at the ring on her right hand. She's even deliberately trying to be a couple with young Master Li. Truly disgusting. Yin Shui Qing was silently gossiping on the side as her eyes filled with disdain. Mi Xuanna tightly clenched her fists, and her face was a bit cramped, as the crystal crown on her head was about to fall. In the next second, she couldn't help but rush into Class F. Everyone's eyes fell onto Luo Qingchun at that moment. Su Xiaoxiao on the side knit her brows in worry as she silently stood by Luo Qingchun's side. "AI, now the commoner class wants to approach our young Master Li? You want to turn a sparrow into a phoenix?" Mi Xuanna's goal was very clear. She walked step by step towards Luo Qingchun. She crossed her arms and looked at her with an arrogant look. "Stop guessing. I'm talking about you, cheap thing." Luo Qingchun casually leaned against the desk as her right hand tapped the desk to the side. This kind of relaxed attitude made Mi Xuanna even angrier. She angrily looked at her and said, "Surnamed Luo, I'm talking about you. Are you deaf? Let me tell you, a poor person like you isn't a sparrow at all. You're a living crow, understand?" Luo Qingchun gave a cold laugh and touched her ear. "Then do you know what you look like right now?" "Me?" Mi Xuanna tidied up her school uniform that was covered in perfume and her crystal crown. "Of course I'm a princess. If you can't even tell something as simple as a shrew swearing." Luo Qingchun looked at her with eyes filled with absolute coldness. "Then I suggest you go back to elementary school and learn your idiom again." Her words were neither light nor heavy, just right. Every word was sonorous and forceful, with a faint domineering aura. Luo Qingchun. Luo's words, Luo Qingchun. Yin Shui Qing took a step forward. The moment she was about to raise her hand, Su Xiao froze for a moment. She jumped in her hand and said in fear, "Don't hit me. Don't hit me." Yin Shui Qing forcefully flung Su Xiao to the ground. Luo Qingchun said in disdain, "What does it have to do with you, Scram?" Luo Qingchun narrowed her cold eyes as they were covered in a layer of blood. Her right hand quickly grabbed Mi Xuanna's collar and pressed her against the classroom window. "This follower, say that again, if you have the skills." Luo Qingchun froze, and her face instantly turned pale. This was the 6th floor of the school building. Mi Xuanna's body was already half out of the classroom. As long as Luo Qingchun let go, she would lose her balance and fall. What do you want to do?" Mi Xuanna said in a trembling voice. You You're breaking the law. Chapter 995. Mishwen-na screamed in fear and angrily roared while trembling. You pervert! Pervert? Her eyebrows relaxed, and a faint smile appeared on her lips. What you said isn't without reason. She didn't know why, but when she pressed Mishwen-na to the edge of life and death, there was an indescribable feeling of jealousy in her heart, and the flames in her heart began to stir. You! Mishwen-na's face was extremely pale. She bit her lips and said, What do you want? Have your little follower help our Xiao Xiao up. Her movements have to be graceful and her limbs have to be soft. Luo Qingqian's eyes narrowed, and her gaze fell on Yan Shuiqing's body. She really hated this kind of girl who thought she had a backer and acted like this. Please, if you're a rich young miss, it's fine if you act like this. You're clearly just a little follower, and you're not embarrassed to act like this. Big sister Nana. Yan Shuiqing's expression was very unwilling since she had never helped a commoner before. She felt that their uniforms were filled with germs and were tattered and disgusting. What are you still standing there for? Mishwen-na saw Yan Shuiqing's hesitant appearance, and her face became even uglier. Yan Shuiqing's parents were only a small nouveau riche, so they naturally wouldn't give her too much pocket money. Normally, this Yan Shuiqing ate and drank her food. She even gave her over 10,000 worth of luxuries. Now that she was in danger, this woman was actually hesitating? Yan Shuiqing unwillingly looked at her and impatiently helped Su Xiao Xiao up while saying in a strange tone, The latest Chanel perfume is on the market. Mishwen-na heard this, and her face couldn't be described as ugly. It was the same color as shit. The people in F class all began to whisper. Zay, so the friendship of rich people is so fake. It is. It's all built on money. It feels so vulgar thinking about it. Our friendship is much purer. After Yan Shuiqing heard these gossips, she angrily said, I've already helped this commoner up, so why aren't you letting go of my big sister Nana? Luo Qingqian's eyes turned cold, and she wanted to continue. But looking at Su Xiao Xiao, who didn't look well, and the teacher who was about to come, she coldly snorted and pushed Mishwen-na away. Unexpectedly, the moment she pushed her away, she pulled off the ring on her middle finger. Trash commoner, if you want to get close to our young Master C, you must have done a lot of preparations. You've even prepared such inferior goods? Mishwen-na picked up Destiny and looked at Light, her eyes filled with disdain. Luo Qingqian narrowed her eyes, and a dangerous light flashed in her eyes. She looked at her and said coldly, Huh? What do you want? What do I want? Mishwen-na forcefully grabbed the ring and said, This kind of inferior item isn't qualified to look the same as young Master C's ring. With that, she raised her hand, intending to throw the ring out of the window. If you throw it out, Luo Qingqian's eyes were cold. Against the light, she lazily put her hands in her pockets and said, You'll have to bear the consequences. Mishwen-na was clearly startled, and her hands unconsciously stopped moving. She felt a chill in her heart as she felt a sense of fear. This feeling was very strong, so strong that her hand holding the ring couldn't help trembling. Chapter 996. You dirty commoner, this young miss isn't afraid of you. Mishwen-na bit her lip and released her aura to the end. In the next second, the ring made a beautiful arc in the air. At the same time, when Luo Qingqian was about to take the ring, a white figure suddenly appeared in front of her. Suddenly, a white figure rushed out from the surroundings. With an extreme somersault, the figure reached out his right hand and grabbed the ring that was already hanging outside the window. Wow, so handsome! There were cheers all around. Li Sinai is so handsome. This is my first time being this close to the school hunk. I'm so excited. This is simply a youth that came out of a comic. Luo Qingqian's lips twitched as her heart OS. Whether it is rich or normal people, they can't resist handsome men. Are you a fool? Li Sinai suddenly turned around and looked at Luo Qingqian with a look of disappointment. Idiot, you're dead stupid. Ding, affection has increased by 20. Mission completion rate is now 20%. After leaving the Japanese restaurant, Li Sinai drove back, and there was a certain person that appeared in his mind every 30 seconds. There's also that faint strawberry smell. That lingered. He wanted to know if this strange feeling was because of that person. He also wanted to use his current dazzling position to let others see how popular he was. Was this the legendary vanity? It was indeed a very strange feeling, but he never thought that when he arrived at F class, he would see this scene just now. You. At this moment, Luo Qingqian's heart was like 10,000 butterflies. She wanted to say something, but she was cut off by a fake voice. Mishwana had a very happy smile as her heart filled with joy. She looked at Li Xinai and said, "Young Master Li is right. This kind of girl is stupid. Trash commoner. She thinks she can fly." She laughed arrogantly as she spoke, and Yin Qingxue, who was standing beside her, also laughed. The two's voices intertwined and were incomparably grating. "Did I let you speak?" Li Xinai narrowed his cold eyes, and a chill came from them that made people's hairs stand on end. Young Master C. Mishwana awkwardly glared. "I'm helping you. I've always been on your side. You were the one who said that I have the right to criticize her," but he paused, his eyes filled with a domineering aura as he looked at her and said word by word, "You don't." He didn't know why, but he could go back and forth with her. But this was a circle that belonged to the two of them, and he hated outsiders getting involved. "Young Master C, what's wrong?" Mishwana cried out in grievance as she looked at him with tears in her eyes. "She's a commoner. Didn't you used to hate commoners the most?" Who didn't know? Li Xinai of the Royal Academy hated women approaching him the most. He never dealt with commoners. Right now, he was actually with that commoner. It was unbelievable. Li Xinai gave a cold laugh. "You think that you're noble in my eyes?" In Li Xinai's mind, only the ace cities for young masters were worthy of being called nobles. For people like Mishwana, they were just there to make up the numbers. In his eyes, they were nothing. Chapter 997. You? Li Xinai gave a snort of disdain. His lips curled into a faint curve as he looked at her with a cold smile. "Please don't be proud of your ignorance. It really is laughable." As soon as his voice fell, he turned to Luo Qingqian. Her eyes were as lazy as before, like she was saying, "I'm very satisfied with your answer. Weren't your words gold and concise when you attacked me? How can you even throw away the ring now?" Li Xinai's cold eyes became a bit gentle when he looked at her, even with a bit of pampering. He took her right hand and carefully put the ring in her palm. There were cries of surprise all around. "God, I can't believe my eyes. Doesn't young Master Li hate people touching him the most? Could it be that the new classmate is his true love, this old man's young girl's heart? Could it be that young Master Li likes girls who take the initiative and doesn't like passive girls? That Mishwana is also very active. Young Master Li doesn't look at her at all. Yeah, that's right. In short, I am the new classmate." He didn't feel annoyed at this time. Rather, he felt a bit proud. "Because there's you." Her lips curled, and there was a flirtatious tone to her voice. She suddenly felt a little touched, even though she could solve this problem perfectly by herself. But if there really was such a handsome youth who came to save her, why wouldn't she do it? Li Xinai heard this, and his heart skipped a beat. Looking in her direction, there was a faint figure that was releasing a dazzling light. At this time, Mishwana was sinisterly staring at Luo Qingqian and Su Xiao, who she thought was with her. This matter strangely ended like this. After all, with Li Xinai there, no one dared to say a thing no matter what happened. But Luo Qingqian never thought that Mishwana wouldn't cause trouble for her. Rather, she went to find Su Xiao. After school that day, she was looking at a luxurious apartment, a 240 square meter apartment. The people who lived in this building were all rich. "Miss, our building is connected from north to south and has excellent lighting. It must be very suitable for a beautiful girl like you to live in." The salesgirl spared no effort in promoting the building. She was quite satisfied, but the rental price was not satisfactory. "Miss, have you thought it through?" Seeing her hesitation, the agent continued. "If the owner of this house hadn't gone to America, he wouldn't have rented it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Right at this moment, another real estate agent walked over. She wasn't dressed as formally as the young lady in front of her. Instead, She was dressed to the nines. When he walked in front of them, he didn't forget to snort lightly and said, "One look and I can tell that you're poor. You even accepted this kind of job. Oh, no wonder your performance is so bad every month." The little girl beside her was taken aback. Her cheeks instantly turned red, and her expression turned somewhat ugly. She was indeed new to this industry. Sometimes, she would analyze the customer situation from a more objective point of view. She wasn't like those flamboyant people who ignored the customer's needs and mixed in some specious false information. And it is indeed not bad. Luo Qingshun raised a brow when she heard this. Then I'll have to trouble you to ask if the owner of this house in America is willing to sell it or not. The price isn't a problem. Chapter 998. She didn't like to drag her feet. Why would she want to rent something she liked? In her eyes, rent was just giving money away. Why bother? Gorgeously dressed, snorted disdainfully, twisted her butt, and left unwillingly. The young lady beside her obviously didn't react in time. She sized her up again and said, "Miss, you really want to buy this house? Really? It's so expensive, rich, willful. In fact, it's really a waste of money for you to live in such a big house. How about I help you pick a smaller but luxurious apartment?" This house was originally on consignment, but because the price was too expensive, no one even asked about renting it. Although if she closed the deal today, she would definitely get first place in this month's performance. But she always felt that it was immoral to cheat a little girl. Then tell me seriously whether this room is really good or not. It's really good, it's brand new. The owners are a young couple. They wanted to live in China, but they didn't expect the man's father to get a green card, and they went to the United States together. After the renovation, they didn't even live there. The girl explained seriously. "Okay then." Luo Qingchun chuckled and said, Bye. Dingling dash, a burst of rapid ringtones sounded. It was from Su Jing in their class. Because Su Jing was the class leader, she saved his phone number on the first day in case of emergencies. "Hello, Qingchun classmate?" "Yeah." Su Xiao is in trouble. Luo Qingchun froze for a moment. When she heard these words, her heart skipped a beat. She didn't even need to think about it. She knew that it was most likely related to Mi Na. In a dirty alley, Su Xiao was pushed to the side of a garbage dump. Her white sweater uniform was stained with drink stains. Yanqing Shui walked over with a bowl of hot instant noodles and said to her, "You dirty commoner! You even dared to let me help you last time. How can you be so shameless? Why don't you take a look at your own status? You're not even qualified to carry my shoes." Su Xiao curled up in the corner, hugging the beggar with both hands and lowering her head. She was surrounded by a few noble students led by Mi Na from Grade 2 Class A. Most of them didn't dare to help when they saw her. After all, although Mi Na was just a little minion in Li Xinai's eyes, she still had a high status among the other nobles. "I won't make things difficult for you." Mi Na held her head high and slightly lifted her blonde hair. She looked at her and said, "If you help me secretly put this bag into Luo Qingchun's drawer, I'll let you go today." As soon as she finished speaking, Su Xiao glanced at the rolling bag. It was filled with terrifying rats. Some of the rats' claws even pierced through the cloth bag, trying to get out. She lowered her head even more and shook it desperately. "Yo, Sister Nana, look, she's still not willing." Yanqing Shui was caught off guard as he poured the bowl of instant noodles over her head. Everyone was laughing the entire time, but Su Xiao didn't make a single sound. She tightly bit her lip and tightly hugged herself as crystal-like tears fell down drop by drop. Su Jing stood not far away with his hands tightly clenched as his heart beat fast. He had been standing here for a long time. Since Su Xiao was blocked, he had been standing here, but he didn't have the courage to take a step forward. Chapter 999. Stop. There was a lazy voice that came from the other side. His hands were in the pockets of his uniform, and there was a serious look in his eyes. "Young Master Nan." Mi Na slightly knit her brows. Why would the second of a city's 4 young masters, Nan Luo Zhe, with a prominent family appear here? Could it be that he knew Su Xiao? What is wrong with handsome men now? Did they like to make friends with commoners? "Hi, Nana." Nan Luo Zhe walked towards Su Xiao while greeting Mi Na. This was a very strange action, but it seemed so natural in his every movement. Does young Master Nan know this commoner? Mishwena's voice was a bit angry, but she couldn't be angry at Nan Luo Zhe. She could only suppress her anger and cross her arms as she looked at him. I don't know her. When Nan Luo Zhe took Su Xiaoxiao's hand, she couldn't help trembling before moving away. In Su Xiaoxiao's world, she must be very dirty right now. How could such a dirty person let such a clean young man touch her? The young man's eyes were stunned, but the next second, he gently grabbed her arm again. She was still trembling, but this time, she didn't refuse. Instead, she lowered her head even more. Since you don't know her, what does young Master Nin mean? Mishwena looked up at Su Xiaoxiao with an arrogant look. You don't need to help me. Su Xiaoxiao lowered her head and softly said these words. Nan Luo Zhe's ears perked up to listen carefully before he could clearly hear it. This girl, she was quite cute. He wasn't someone who liked to meddle in other people's business, but his EQ of 200 was different from others. As Li Xinai's chest attacker, Luo Qingchen had been in a scandal with him as soon as she transferred. He thought that Li Xinai would make Luo Qingchen disappear like usual. But he didn't do this and change his normal self. When people praised him and Luo Qingchen for their relationship, his lips couldn't help curling into a smile. Although he didn't see it that many times, for Li Xinai, this was already a very rare existence. Su Xiaoxiao was said to be Luo Qingchen's good friend. Mishwena was making things difficult for her probably because of Luo Qingchen. In that case, he would be doing a good deed for his brothers who had yet to arrive. I'm just saying that I didn't know him before. Nan Luo Zhe carefully placed his hand on Su Xiaoxiao's shoulder and pulled her into his embrace with his right hand. But from now on, she is my girlfriend. What? Mishwena looked at Nan Luo Zhe in disbelief, and Yin Shui Qing on the side had an angry red face. Everyone at school knew that Yin Shui Qing had been secretly in love with Nan Luo Zhe for many years. It had spread throughout the capital from middle school to high school. But Nan Luo Zhe treated her the same as any other girl. In less than 3 days, he had heartlessly said goodbye to her without even holding her hand. She would never forget the gentle tone in his voice when he said goodbye. Her heart was filled with pain, but she had no choice but to accept it. Nan Luo Zhe had already become a hurdle that Yin Shui Qing couldn't get over, so she was filled with hostility towards each of his girlfriends. She would laugh at their miserable appearances 3 days later. Every time she saw that group of shameless girls being dumped like her, she would feel especially happy. But today was different. Nan Luo Zhe always accepted girls' confessions. Chapter 1000. As the name implied, he didn't chase anyone. Young Master Nan, how can you be with this dirty commoner? Yin Shui Qing had an anxious look, as if she was about to cry as she muttered, Young Master Nan, quickly bring her over. She's this dirty, don't stand with her. How could an elegant and handsome man like Nan Luo Zhe stand with such a dirty commoner? In her eyes, he should be with a girl like her. She even imagined a beautiful scene where she stood with Nan Luo Zhe and Mishwena stood with Li Xinai. Then the 4 of them would enter the school together and attract the attention of countless people. This was her dream, and she firmly believed that as long as she had a good relationship with Mishwena, this dream would be easily realized. But now, reality had given her a slap in the face, catching her off guard. I'll say it again, she is my girlfriend now. Nan Luo Zhe's eyes turned cold. Although his voice was still very gentle, one could hear the coldness in it. Without knowing why, Nan Luo Zhe felt a desire to protect her that came from the bottom of his heart. He wanted to protect Snake Whip, who was trembling in his embrace. It was very strange and very novel. After Nan Luo Zhe said this word for word, Mishwena knew that she couldn't move against Su Xiaoxiao today. She could only stomp her foot and angrily leave without a word. But Yin Shui Qing was different. She angrily pointed at Su Xiaoxiao and said, I'll be waiting for you in 3 days. When Luo Qingchen arrived at the scene, she happened to see Yin Shui Qing say this. Of course, she also saw Su Jing standing not far away. His eyes were very deep, but they revealed a helpless expression. making it difficult for others to see through him. When they all left, Su Xiaoxiao struggled a bit and broke free from Nan Luozhe's grasp. She lowered her head and said, "Thank you." She didn't look up the entire time and kept her head down. She kept her head down, as if she was afraid that others couldn't see her. "Why don't you look up?" Nan Luozhe gently took the noodles off her head bit by bit before reaching out his slender hand. "Hello, I am Nan Luozhe." "I know." She nodded her head gently, rubbing her scalded hands. She was a girl with low self-esteem. Because her parents divorced when she was young, she grew up in an environment that lacked love. She gradually became taciturn and felt that she didn't deserve anything. She gradually became a lonely and depressed girl. To Su Xiaoxiao, Nan Luozhe was like a dream. He was someone she could only watch from afar and could never get close to. At this moment, when she was in such a sorry state in front of him, she only felt that she was even more insignificant, even more inferior, and even more humiliating. "So, what is your name?" Nan Luozhe seriously looked at her, feeling a bit nervous without knowing why. He was afraid that the other party would refuse to tell him and refuse to have too much contact with him. "Her name is Su Xiaoxiao." Luo Qingchun slowly came forward and narrowed her eyes. She had a teasing smile as she looked at Nan Luozhe. "Thank you for saving our Xiaoxiao. Don't let others take responsibility for the trouble you caused." Nan Luozhe's tone wasn't very good, completely changing his original intention of saving Su Xiaoxiao. Chapter 1001. Unhumph. Luo Qingchun's brows twitched, naturally hearing the reproach in Nan Luozhe's voice. But she wasn't angry at him saying this. She just said with a soft laugh, "Then I asked classmate Nan Luozhe to help me take care of my Xiaoxiao. I'll be there soon." As soon as her voice fell, she picked up the bag filled with rats and disappeared into the depths of the alley. According to the route the system gave her, she quickly found where Mi Xuanna and Yin Xueqing were. In a high-class outdoor coffee shop, there were two people wearing heavy makeup who were angrily chatting. "Damn, what's wrong with us recently? We keep falling into the hands of commoners. It really makes people angry." Mi Xuanna gritted her teeth with an angry look that was very ugly. Yin Xueqing immediately said, "That's right. That Su Xiaoxiao is so ugly, and her uniform is so old. It's just a custom-made sweater from last winter, and she's not embarrassed to wear it. I really want to vomit when I see it." As long as she thought of how gentle Nan Luozhe was to Su Xiaoxiao, she couldn't help feeling angry. I can only blame Nan Luozhe for coming just in time and not throwing the bag of rats at Su Xiaoxiao. It really is a waste. Mi Xuanna clenched her fist and unwillingly tapped the table. Luo Qingchun, not far away, heard what she said, and her lips curled into a faint smile as she muttered, "It definitely won't be a waste." Ding! 500 exchange points has been taken. Successfully exchanged for space and time freeze. Can only be used in this world. After that, Luo Qingchun swaggered over to Mi Xuanna's side. She pulled on her collar and threw the motionless rats inside. When they reached her neck, she turned to the next target, Yin Xueqing. There were still rats all over her clothes, but there were still two left. She gave a shrug and threw the rats into Yin Xueqing's dress. Once she was done, she swaggered out of the coffee shop. When she reached a corner, she snapped her fingers. Everything returned to normal, and what followed was a burst of screams that pierced through the sky. "Ah!" She smirked and walked back the way she came. The kind of ability one possessed was the kind of qualifications one had to be arrogant. Since the other party had provoked him first, there was no reason for him to retreat unscathed. When she returned to the alley, Su Xiaoxiao was still standing there waiting for her. Nan Luozhe was also waiting by her side with an ugly expression. Suddenly, he felt sorry for the girl beside him. He had been suggesting to send her back to the dormitory or go to a nearby hotel to take a bath, but she stubbornly wanted to wait for Lu Qingchun to come back. Just like how Head had stubbornly squatted on the ground and lowered his head. No matter what Mi Xuanna said, she didn't intend to compromise. It was probably because of this stubbornness that he couldn't help but want to stand out and meddle in other people's business. "Why are you only back now?" Nan Luozhe narrowed his eyes. Although he was unhappy, his voice was still calm. "You'll know tomorrow." Luo Qingshun took Su Xiaoxiao's hand, and Su Xiaoxiao decisively walked to her side. Her head was still lowered, but she was no longer trembling. Chapter 1002. At that moment, Luo Qingshun's impression of Nan Luo Zhe suddenly changed. He wasn't like the other rich second generations, note, including the arrogant Li Xinai. He gave people a very comfortable feeling. Faint elegance, gentlemanly movements, and high EQ. Many thanks for your concern. Luo Qingshun nodded and turned to leave. But Nan Luo Zhe actually called out to them. "I'll send you off. It's not good for her to walk on the street like this." Nan Luo Zhe's voice was a bit anxious. This girl named Luo Qingshun in front of him had a mysterious aura. He always felt that she could see through the turbulent heart under his calm appearance with just a single glance. No matter how he pretended, he was a bit weak in front of her. When they met, the last piece would win. Unfortunately, he was the one who placed his piece first. Su Xiaoxiao pulled her sleeves and shook her head gently. Luo Qingshun spread her hands at Nan Luo Zhe. "It's a pity that our Xiao isn't willing." "No," Su Xiaoxiao quickly explained. "I'll dirty your car." In front of Luo Qingshun's old scheming method, Su Xiaoxiao naturally fell into her trap. Actually, she wasn't completely certain that Nan Luo Zhe was a good person since he was different from Li Xinai. For Li Xinai, as long as she saw that familiar mark, she would know that even if he had a bad reputation in this world, he was definitely a good person. But Nan Luo Zhe, she wasn't too clear. This person was known as a playboy, a rich second generation who never had a girlfriend for more than 3 days. What kind of person was he? But if this was Su Xiaoxiao's fate, she didn't need to stop it. Before Luo Qingshun could react to Nan Luo Zhe's words, he decisively came forward. He changed his gentle style and domineeringly took Su Xiaoxiao's hand, walking towards the Ferrari on the side. Luo Qingshun was a bit stunned and even had the urge to give Nan Luo Zhe 666. Really, he was a bit handsome. As for Su Xiaoxiao, she was completely stunned when she was pulled into the car. She carefully sat in the corner and kept wiping her clothes, afraid that she would dirty Nan Luo Zhe's car. Luo Qingshun gave her the address of a high-end luxury apartment. She paid 20 million yuan in a lump sum and bought the apartment. Of course, this was followed by the system's solemn notification. Ding, very regretfully, the second side mission has failed. 10% of the total experience has been deducted. It will be calculated after the mission is over. Nan Luo Zhe narrowed his eyes and said to Su Xiaoxiao behind him, "Sit tight." As soon as he finished speaking, he quickly drifted away. Su Xiaoxiao sank into the soft back seat, blinking her big, clean eyes desperately. She said fearfully, "You drive slowly. Then sit tight. Don't just do a little. I don't need insurance for the back seats." Nan Luo Zhe's lips curled, but he still didn't plan on slowing down. Luo Qingshun, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, had a black face the whole time. She was cursing 10,000 times in her heart. This kind of crazy teasing little sister. Why did she have to suffer? She gave a cold laugh, and her lips curled as she said, "Then classmate Nan Luo Zhe, how much did you pay for the front passenger seat? Driving at 180 miles an hour, even if it was the third ring highway, it would be heaven-defying, all right? 50 million. Nan Luo Zhe's brows twitched as he looked at Su Xiaoxiao's expression in the rearview mirror. As expected, her stunned expression was very cute. Chapter 1003. Nan Luo Zhe's sports car stopped in front of the door of the Mu apartment. He turned to look at Luo Qingshun in disbelief. "You live here?" This wasn't a place that a random person could live in. It was one of the highest grade apartments in a city. The most important thing was that Li Xinai also lived here. "Can I?" Luo Qingshun said to Su Xiaoxiao behind her. "Let's get out." She had asked the agent to pack her things from the hotel and bring them to the apartment. There were most of the things in the apartment, but they weren't properly arranged. When they entered the elevator and Luo Qingshun pressed the button for the 22nd floor, Nan Luo Zhe was stunned. He narrowed his beautiful eyes and said, "You live on the 22nd floor?" If I don't live on the 22nd floor, why would I press the button? Luo Qingchun rolled her eyes at him. Could it be that I want to go sightseeing on the 22nd floor? A faint smile flashed in Nan Luo Zhe's eyes as he quickly said, No, nothing. No, I haven't asked you yet. When the elevator door opened, she tilted her head to look at Nan Luo Zhe. What are you following us up for? Although he was helping her to the end, sending the Buddha to the west. But in this situation, it should be fine as long as he sent her downstairs. I'm here to see an old friend. Nan Luo Zhe's brows twitched as he stopped in front of her house. Luo Qingchun knit her brows as she watched him press the doorbell. Even Su Xiao was stunned at that moment. Was there such a coincidence? It couldn't be that Nan Luo Zhe was a brother, right? The door was lazily opened with a pong, and Li Xinai was wearing a white bathrobe. He who had just taken a shower had an inexplicably seductive aura, as well as a refreshing scent. But right after that, when he met Luo Qingchun's eyes, his narrowed eyes immediately opened wide. The door was closed with a pong sound. Pooh! Luo Qingchun couldn't help laughing as she held her stomach. I'm dying of laughter. She never thought that Li Xinai would live next door to her. This was simply fate. Although Su Xiao still had her head down, she chuckled softly and sweetly. Just wait for your brother. Luo Qingchun pointed to the door behind her and said, I'll take Xiao to change her clothes first. Nan Luo Zhe's lips twitched as he revealed an awkward smile. However, the little flower that had been as quiet as a sleeping lotus just now seemed to have inadvertently smiled. She didn't know why, but her heart felt warm. At this time, Li Xinai, standing behind the other door, felt strangely nervous. As she regretted her actions, she thought about what clothes she should change into before opening the door. Nan Luo Zhe had been waiting at the door for half an hour, and he had received a message. You're not allowed to leave. But you and little sister Luo Qingchun are quite fated. She actually lives across from you. Nan Luo Zhe rented. Li Xinai. He didn't think that the idiot across the street who entered the commoner class could afford a house here. Since you're so concise, I'm going back. Nan Luo Zhe. Actually, Nan Luo Zhe didn't want to go back since he wanted to say goodbye to Su Xiao before leaving. But he never thought that Li Xinai would suddenly open the door, scaring Nan Luo Zhe. He wore a black Osik limited edition casual sweater. His slightly chestnut-colored hair was slightly curly, and he exuded the charm of youth to its fullest. Chapter 1004. The bar. It was the entertainment place that noble children like them went to the most. But Li Xinai wasn't planning on going today. He raised a brow and said, Go knock on the door. In this situation, of course he had to go along. Being passive was more handsome. Me? Nan Luo Zhe looked at Li Xinai in a daze. Why aren't you going? Nan Luo Zhe admitted that he wanted to see if the little girl was done and comfort her. But at this moment, he felt like he was being used as a target. I've heard about what happened today. Li Xinai looked at him with a gaze of deep meaning. That's Su. What is it? She's called Su Xiao. Oh, Li Xinai said with a nod. Classmate Su Xiao isn't young Master Nan's new love. There's no problem with you going to see your girlfriend. As soon as his voice fell, he looked at him with a serious look, showing that his words were correct and there was nothing wrong with them. You saying this does make sense. Nan Luo Zhe's deep eyes lit up. When Li Xinai said the word girlfriend, there was an inexplicable joy in his heart. But his expression changed. But it's not good for us to go empty-handed. They haven't eaten yet. He had been in a rush and forgot to buy dinner for them. Now that he thought about it, his first impression points had been deducted. This is simple. Li Xinai picked up his phone and said to the person on the phone in less than 3 seconds, Go to Royal Tribute and pack up all the dishes this young master likes to eat. I'll give you 10 minutes. After giving this order, Li Xinai decisively hung up. Nan Luo Zhe couldn't help giving him a thumbs up. Young Master Li really has a way. Taking advantage of the 10-minute break, the two handsome youths stood in the hallway, trying to figure out each other's thoughts. I've never seen young Master Nin care about a girl like this before. Li Xinai's deep eyes had a faint Li Guang look as he said, It can't be that you're moved this time, right? Nan Luo Zhe heard this, and his expression became unnatural. But then he said, I treat girls the same. It's not like you don't know that. He paused for a moment before continuing. Unlike our young Master C, don't you usually hate it when girls get close to you? So he met his true love. I heard that last time at the sports field. Nan Luo Zhe. Li Sinai lowered his voice. Be quiet. Although the soundproofing here was good, if one listened carefully, they would still be able to hear it. Yo, yo, yo. Although Nan Luo Zhe lowered his voice, he didn't stop teasing him. He looked at him with sparkling eyes and said, Young Master C is admitting that you like classmate Luo Qingchen? Li Sinai was a bit surprised. This question seemed to have been in his mind for a long time. In fact, he already had an answer. After a long time, his eyebrows moved slightly. I can't say that I like her, but I don't dislike contact. Li Sinai wasn't the kind of person who would fall in love at first sight. It was nonsense to talk about love over time. Everyone knew that he hated being with girls. But this time, he was very sure that this girl was different. At the very least, she wasn't wearing a luxurious perfume, but she had a faint, grassy fragrance. At least when she kissed him forcefully, he had a lingering feeling. Perhaps it was special, perhaps it was like he liked her. He wasn't certain, but he knew that he might fall in love with a girl in this life. Chapter 1005. You're quite honest. Nan Luo Zhe gave a thoughtful nod as his lips curled. This good brother of his, he had been filled with disgust towards girls for thousands of years. This disgust was so strong that he even thought that he liked men. But with the appearance of some people, it seemed like the old sago tree was about to bloom. So what about you? Li Sinai put his hands in his pocket and leaned against the wall. What do you like about that Sue? Please, can your memory not be that bad? She's called Su Xiao Xiao, all right? Nan Luo Zhe seriously corrected Li Sinai's mistake before saying, I can't say that I like her, I just feel that girl is quite special. Special? Li Sinai gave a shrug, Su Xiao Xiao. There are many girls like her. In his eyes, a girl like Luo Qingchen, who always had an unexpected way of attacking people, was the one who was special. After all, in young Master Li Sinai's life, he had never met a match when it came to insulting people. Luo Qingchen was the first. Cuckoo. Nan Luo Zhe cleared his throat and said, I know that Luo Qingchen is special, but Su Xiao Xiao is another special existence. Although today was his first time meeting Su Xiao Xiao, and he had saved the beauty in a rather chaotic situation. But he always felt that she was a girl who made people want to protect her. Perhaps she didn't fit in with this world, but she was another beautiful scenery in his eyes. At the same time, behind the door, Luo Qingchen chose a small dress for Su Xiao Xiao. This dress was bought by her mother from Paris. There weren't many in the world. It was the exclusive design of the famous designer Ina Manning. She was wearing a crystal pink sweater, a moon-white short skirt, and a pair of white canvas shoes. Her hair hadn't been blown dry yet, and her clear eyes had a bit of shyness and nervousness. But in front of Luo Qingchen, she could bravely raise her head. You really are cute. Luo Qingchen gave a satisfied nod before pulling her to the dressing table. Although there was nothing on the table, there was a very clear mirror. Su Xiao Xiao looked down in a bit of panic when she saw the mirror, not looking at herself in the mirror. At that moment, Luo Qingchen's heart suddenly trembled. A sense of déjà vu spread from her heart, as if this feeling had always been around her. She knew that this was the previous host's feeling. Luo Qingchen gave a soft laugh. She took out a large cosmetic bag from her large luggage and placed bottles of lotion on top of it. The empty dressing table was instantly filled. At this moment, Su Xiao Xiao lifted her head slowly, but her tiny hand were placed on her thighs and clenched tightly. Luo Qingchen knew that she was inferior, and she used all her strength to raise her head to get rid of this inferiority feeling. However, the heavy defensive line in her heart made it hard for her to breathe. Xiao Xiao, do you like pink or green? Luo Qingchen's fingers tapped on the dressing table, using a very strange method to enter the next topic. Me? She was a bit surprised before looking up at her and saying, I like pink. It was a very sweet color, a color that she liked the most. Chapter 1006. Su Xiao Xiao was stunned. She took the 400 milliliters of powder water with her petite hand. Then she nodded gently and opened the lid carefully. Her movements were very clumsy, but it was also somewhat cute. She carefully poured the powder water into the palm of her hand. She poured a little, but her eyes were full of satisfaction. She patted her cheeks carefully with her small hands, and her clear eyes finally focused on the mirror at this moment. "Thank you." After a long time, she nodded gently and looked at Luo Qingshun, saying, "This is the first time I've used this kind of water. It feels cool." Luo Qingshun chuckled and rolled her eyes playfully, saying, "There are other good things. Let me look for them." As soon as she finished speaking, she squatted down and searched for her big bump. Finally, she found a strawberry hair clip among the mess of hair clips and ribbons. "This is—" Su Xiaoxiao's eyes trembled. She looked at her embarrassedly and said, "I can't accept it. I didn't say I'll give it to you." Luo Qingshun picked up the hairdryer and helped her dry her hair, saying, "I'll lend it to you. When you have a new hair clip one day, get it back to me." Su Xiaoxiao lowered her head slightly and seemed to be embarrassed. But the next second, Luo Qingshun put the hair clip in her hand very aggressively and changed the topic, asking, "Is Xiaoxiao's grades very good?" To be honest, the system only gave her a branch. She had no idea about Su Xiaoxiao's character information. It was reasonable to say that depression must be caused by great mental stimulation. There was always something in the heart that no one could talk about, and it accumulated to form the disease. For Su Xiaoxiao, such an introverted character was definitely one of the most important reasons why she had been ill for a long time. "Well," she nodded gently. It seemed that she was a little embarrassed to admit it, but if she denied it, she would feel that she was too hypocritical. After all, she did enter the Capital Aristocratic Academy with full marks in the cultural class. All the tuition and miscellaneous fees were waived, and she still had a scholarship of 10,000 yuan a year. If it's not convenient to say, then don't say it. Luo Qingshun chuckled and blew her straight hair into a slight curl. After a long time, Su Xiaoxiao clenched her fists tighter and tighter. At some point, she suddenly loosened her fists and said, "Would you like to hear my story?" It was not a questioning tone, but a pleading tone. All these years, no one had ever heard of her story. After all, there were some things that couldn't be revealed to outsiders. Su Xiaoxiao's story was very short. It was not as long as Luo Qingshun had imagined. Of course, it was also possible that she was just rambling. Her family was poor since she was young. Her father was a shoemaker, and her mother had a bad habit. That was his love for gambling. Of course, not only was she addicted to gambling, she was also a fickle person. Her father was an honest man. Every time her mother cried, he would forgive her, until one day, her mother was brought home by a man who was also a gambler. When the two of them were in bed, they were caught by her father, who came home early. At that moment, her father couldn't bear it anymore. He took out a kitchen knife from the kitchen and slashed the man more than 100 times until he fell in a pool of blood and could no longer move. When he looked at her mother, he still didn't have the heart to kill her. Instead, he picked up a can of diesel that they had just bought and rushed to the roof. Chapter 1007. Su Xiaoxiao saw all of this. She had seen her mother bring someone home. She had seen her father, who had always been silent. The father she respected the most was like a wild beast, slashing around with a knife. This was the knot in her heart from the beginning. After that, her mother ran away, and she was brought up by her grandmother. It was a very tragic life. At the end of the story, she lowered her head again and secretly shed a tear. No one knows what the future will be like. Luo Qingshun took the strawberry hairpin from her hand and put on her head, but at least you have your grandmother and you have me. Friendship was a very wonderful thing. It was different from love. It didn't need passionate actions to prove it. It just needed a few simple words. They were friends. Ding dong. There was a crisp sound from the doorbell. Luo Qingshun slightly knit her brows, not knowing who would come. The moment she stood in the peephole and looked over, the corners of her mouth unconsciously raised into a smile. "Do you have a guest?" Su Xiaoxiao came out of the room with soft steps. She put her hands in front of her, and her eyes trembled as she said, "Then I'll go back first." After all, she had really troubled her today. For her, As long as she troubled someone, she would feel very embarrassed. Growing up in this kind of family, she was very careful no matter what she did. She didn't dare speak loudly and didn't dare trouble others. A guest is indeed a guest. Luo Qingshun looked at her with a deep gaze before saying with a faint smile, "But they should be looking for you." She opened the door and saw Nan Luo Zhe and Li Xinai holding 2 large bags of food. "You shouldn't have eaten yet, right?" Nan Luo Zhe looked at her like a gentleman. "I bought some things. Do you want to eat together?" He said this as he stretched his neck a bit, as if he wanted to see a certain petite figure through Luo Qingshun. "I don't mind," Luo Qingshun said. "After all, I'm not the one spending money, so what is there to mind?" Li Xinai said with a proud look, "I'll let you have a taste of the delicacies of the noble world. Although it can't compare to that small Japanese restaurant, it's still high class." Without knowing why, hearing how serious she was talking to Nan Luo Zhe, his heart felt very uncomfortable. He always felt that even if they were to fight and hurt each other, only he could do it. He didn't want anyone else to take over such a special position. Perhaps it was selfish, perhaps it was overbearing, but this was the truest feeling in his heart at this moment. "Oh, classmate Li Xinai's meaning is that expensive things have to be high quality?" After Luo Qingshun let them go, she didn't forget to talk back. "Of course, it's a symbol of status." Li Xinai looked around after entering the hall. The house was as big as his, and the decorations were very luxurious, giving off a noble aura. Luo Qingshun lived in such a house. He didn't know why he felt a little depressed. For some reason, he felt that he had suddenly become less radiant. For some reason, he felt that he would not be able to illuminate her. The next second, Luo Qingshun rolled her eyes at him, as usual, and said, "Then why don't you eat the diamond into your stomach? It's expensive and a symbol of status." "Idiot!" Li Xinai roared in a low and magnetic voice. "I'm talking about delicacies. If the delicacies of the noble world are called diamonds by you, then your world is called stone." Chapter 1008. Hey, don't fight as soon as you two see each other. Nan Luo Zhe awkwardly looked at the two of them with a stunned look. In less than 3 seconds, they had completely controlled the situation. "Stop fighting." Su Xiao on the side bit her lip and advised in a small voice. Nan Luo Zhe's eyes finally fell onto Su Xiao, and his eyes lit up. At the same time, even Li Xinai, standing beside Luo Qingshun, had a change in expression. "Dang, dang, dang, dang." Luo Qingshun rolled her eyes at Li Xinai before coming to Su Xiao's side with a sweet smile. She pushed her shoulder and looked at Nan Luo Zhe as she said, "How about it? Don't you feel like a little princess?" He narrowed his eyes, and there was a faint guang in them. "Very good looking. Really, really good looking." In Nan Luo Zhe's world, he had never seen such a good-looking girl. She didn't have any makeup on, and her aura was filled with youth and cleanness. Su Xiao lowered her head in embarrassment and said, "I'll head back first." This was her first time being watched by someone. Before, she was always a foil to others no matter where she stood. It was said that red flowers match green leaves, but for her, she wasn't even a green leaf. She could only be considered dirt or a spring breeze. She was always small and humble in the dust. But today, when 3 pairs of eyes landed on her, she only felt especially embarrassed and nervous to the point that she broke out in cold sweat. "What are you in a rush for?" Luo Qingshun gave a chuckle before looking at Li Xinai. "Since there's a rich second generation who has nothing to do that wants us to taste the delicacies of the noble world, why shouldn't we do it?" But Su Xiao looked at Luo Qingshun and said, "The dorm will be closed if we go back any later. If it's closed, you can live in my house." Luo Qingshun gave a shrug. "There's not enough room in such a big place." That's right, don't worry." Nan Luo Zhe looked at her and waved the food in front of her. "Eat before you leave." She had to admit that she was sick of Imperial Tribute's cuisine. After all, she had eaten this kind of food since she was young in France. Although this restaurant catered to people with high prices, it was not even third-rate compared to the food she had eaten in the aristocratic families. If nothing was used to cover it, it would give people a fishy feeling. Look at your expression. It's like you want to eat poison. Li Sinai looked at her with a dark face. Do you need to act so disgusting? This restaurant was the top seafood restaurant in City A, and it only received 10 guests a day. He was one of the most expensive and luxurious VIP members in this shop, which was why he could buy such fresh delicacies so quickly. This idiot in front of him actually despised it. Cuckoo. She cleared her throat and said, Classmate Li Sinai, I didn't say that it was bad, but using such expensive ingredients to make a dish of this taste, it really isn't a delicacy. Everything had its own way of cooking, just like steamed buns and abalone. Chapter 1009. It's like you're a food connoisseur. Li Sinai narrowed his eyes and crossed his arms as he leaned back in his chair. Have you eaten this before? It cost over 10,000 per person to eat in the Imperial Tribute, and he had already packed over 20,000 in front of them. She actually dared to say that this wasn't a delicacy. He wanted to know, if this wasn't a delicacy, what was a delicacy? This treasure has eaten more salt than you have rice. Luo Qingchun saw his angry appearance and knew that she had ruined the young master's mood. But she had to tell the truth for this kind of dish. Then tell me what's not good about them. Li Sinai felt like he had brought them to eat a big meal, but he was being looked down on. His heart was a bit blocked, but Luo Qingchun's expression didn't seem like she was joking. I'll just ask you, how much is it? 20,000. Get on. Su Xiao Zhao's chopsticks fell to the ground as she looked at Li Sinai in shock. 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. To her, this could be 2 years of living expenses. To her, this could even change her current situation for the past 2 years. But in their eyes, this was just a meal. Luo Qingchun quickly said, Xiao Xiao, don't mind it too much. Their world is like this. You should be used to it in the imperial capital. She was indeed used to this kind of luxurious spending, but when she was eating a meal that cost 20,000, she couldn't eat it. I know, Su Xiao Xiao said with a nod, but I won't eat it. She sat down obediently and shook her head awkwardly. Luo Qingchun suddenly thought of something as she said to Li Sinai, How about it? This is different. What do you mean? What I want to say is... Luo Qingchun pointed at the dishes in front of her. If this meal was only 2,000, I would give you a thumbs up because whether it was the taste or texture, it was worth this price. But if it was 20,000, I don't think it's worth it. 2,000 isn't worth it. Su Xiao Xiao said in a small voice, There are ingredients. It's actually very simple. When she said this, Luo Qingchun and Li Sinai stopped arguing and looked at Su Xiao Xiao in shock. Of course, this included Nan Luo Zhe, because his eyes had always been on Su Xiao Xiao Xiao. They never left her. However, Su Xiao Xiao didn't look him in the eye for a long time. Maybe it was not that she didn't want to, but that she didn't dare. Xiao Xiao, you really know how to make it. Luo Qingchun said, You don't even have a recipe. Su Xiao Xiao smiled embarrassedly and pointed to the plate of 9-section shrimp in front of her. I know every ingredient in this dish, but I don't know about the ones I haven't eaten before. Luo Qingchun suddenly felt that Su Xiao Xiao was dazzling, a strange kind of dazzling. It was like she had put down her defenses and was one with them for the first time. When she finished, Nan Luo Zhe was the first to clap. Then he said with a gentle smile, Although there are 2 things I didn't mention, they really are powerful. There is an absolute sense of taste. Chapter 10:10. Indeed, this was the expensive part of this dish. After all, the foie gras and truffles were super expensive ingredients. They were even more expensive than the 9-section shrimp. I'm sorry. Su Xiao Xiao lowered her head again in embarrassment. It seemed that the door of her heart that had just opened was closed at this moment. She really wasn't in the same world as them. She wasn't even in the same world as Qingchun beside her. Xiao Xiao, actually I feel... Luo Qingchun helped her pick up some food as she said, Perhaps it's more delicious without these 2 things. Next time, make it for us, all right. Li Sinai said in a confused voice. Shut up. Luo Qingchun glared at him at the same time. He closed his mouth again. This scene even attracted Nan Luo Zhe, who wanted to speak. No one had ever spoken to Li Sinai like this, whether it was a man or a woman. The people who could talk to him like this weren't in the capital or even a city. What kind of bewitching potion did this girl give to the arrogant young master? She was so powerful. Su Xiao timidly looked up at Li Xinai. Li Xinai immediately changed his tone. Ah, good, good, good. Pooh. Nan Luo Zhe couldn't help laughing as he put his right hand on Li Xinai's forehead. Did you eat the wrong medicine? Who cares? Li Xinai's tone changed, and he became domineering again. In short, I'll have to thank Xiao Xiao first. Nan Luo Zhe raised his glass of red wine. I'm looking forward to your cooking. Su Xiao pursed her lips before her eyes fell onto Luo Qingchen. This was a gaze that needed to be affirmed. She had never shown this kind of gaze to anyone since she was young, because she knew that no one was looking forward to her performance. No one cared about her results. She only had herself and her grandmother, but it was a good thing she still had her grandmother. I think it's completely okay. Luo Qingchen raised her glass and looked at her. I'm also looking forward to your cooking. As soon as her voice fell, she didn't forget to look at Li Xinai. He said with a helpless smile, I'm looking forward to it. The night sky was filled with stars. After eating their fill, Nan Luo Zhe had a suggestion. How about we play truth or dare? When Nan Luo Zhe said this, his eyes couldn't help looking at Su Xiao. He wanted to forgive this clean and quiet girl in front of him. Her grades were heaven-defying, and she had a superb sense of taste. Why would such an outstanding girl have such low self-esteem? He was looking forward to the truth or dare game to give him an answer. But he never thought that Luo Qingchen and Li Xinai would speak at the same time, breaking his fantasy. No, childish. Hey. Nan Luo Zhe cleared his throat and said, when did the two of you speak at the same time? You have a common enemy. Luo Qingchen said in her heart, F***CK, goading me. Li Xinai thought, true brother, you're actually trying to goad me. In the next second, the two of them spoke in unison. Yes, this should be the attitude you should have. Nan Luo Zhe was very satisfied to see the two of them looking unhappy. He clapped his hands and said, there's a truth or dare table at young Master Li's house. How about we change venues? I also have to participate, Su Xiao asked in a soft voice. Chapter 10:11. Li Xinai's house was more luxurious than Luo Qingchen imagined. There was a robot that was even bigger than her when she came in. Big Bear opened 2 bottles of 89 red wine and bring them to the entertainment room. Li Xinai had a proud look as his lips curled into a faint smile. It was like he had the aura of an absolute master, with a bit of pride. Yes, master. Big Bear nodded in a daze and quickly scanned him before saying, Master's blood temperature has increased. It's currently 39 degrees Celsius. Please lower it as soon as possible. Otherwise, there will be complications, such as fever and heat. Stop. Li Xinai raised a brow and roared. Quickly finish the first task. Why are you scanning me? It was fine if it scanned him, but it had to say it in front of all these people. Wasn't this clearly saying that he was nervous? Whose robot was this? It didn't know how to look at its master's face. Big Bear took 2 steps forward in an aggrieved manner before stopping. It turned around and said, Welcome to my house, 2 beauties. You can treat this as your own home. There's no need to be restrained. Poochie. Nan Luo Zhe, standing on the side, couldn't help laughing as he gave Li Xinai a thumbs up. It really is an understanding robot. Li Xinai's face was as ugly as an ice mountain. This broken robot. It seemed like he had to give it a new system. Too arrogant. The group followed Li Xinai to the entertainment room. There was a very large table inside with the words truth or dare written in the middle. Let me tell you, young Master Li's truth or dare is different from other people's. Nan Luo Zhe looked at Luo Qingchen with a gaze of deep meaning. If you don't mean it, you'll definitely be found out. The young masters of the noble circle often came to Li Xinai's apartment to play, since it was like a paradise. They could have anything they wanted, everything was there. Why? Luo Qingchen's eyes trembled as she asked in a confused voice. Could it be that this table can see through people's hearts? The table can't do it, but Big Bear can. An extremely mechanical voice sounded, and it was somewhat similar to her system. When Big Bear came over with 2 bottles of wine, He didn't forget to continue saying in a cute manner, "Beautiful lady, Big Bear thinks that you must be very familiar with things like robots. The system is not a robot." The arrogant system's voice suddenly rang in her mind. Hiss! Luo Qingxuan sucked in a breath of cold air and awkwardly tugged at the corner of her mouth. "I think you have a very good eye. Is there something wrong with you today?" Li Xinai snappily gave a cold look. "She's familiar with robots. Please, do you think you're cheap?" There is only one such multifunctional robot with unlimited sensing ability in City A. Okay? It was a priceless commodity. "Master, why are you angry in front of such a beautiful young miss? You're losing your manners." Big Bear awkwardly turned around and patted Li Xinai's shoulder with its soft paw. He. Su Xiaoxiao chuckled softly. She tiptoed and touched the robot's head. "It's so cute." Chapter 10:12. Cool. Li Xinai cleared his throat and said, "It's like you're qualified to give it to her if she likes it. You." Nan Luo Zhe was already used to Li Xinai's poisonous tongue, but in front of Su Xiaoxiao, he didn't have any face. He pointed at the table and said, "I'll definitely make you drunk tonight." He didn't know why, but at this moment, he suddenly became stronger. Although he had the arrogance of a rich young master before, he was as elegant as a spring breeze most of the time. But this time, he really wanted to win. "Give it a try." Li Xinai raised a brow and pressed the truth or dare button on Big Bear's body. Then Big Bear mechanically read the rules of the game. The rules of the truth or dare game were as follows. 1. The person on the other side of the mark will ask the question, and the person on the other side will answer. If the answer is truth, it has to be the truth. If you don't want to answer, you have to choose dare. 2. There are two kinds of dare. One is a large glass of 89 red wine, and the second is a kiss to anyone present. No limit to men or women. When Big Bear said the final words, there was a faint sparkle in Li Xinai's deep eyes. Master, what are you embarrassed about?" Li Xinai tightly clenched his fists and suppressed the rage in his heart. "Who cares?" The game soon began, and the four of them sat facing each other. Luo Qingxuan was facing Li Xinai, and Su Xiaoxiao was facing Nan Luo Zhe. According to the size of the dice, the first person to turn it was Nan Luo Zhe. Before he turned it, he looked at Su Xiaoxiao and muttered, God bless, God bless." But God didn't seem to care about him. When he turned it first, the person on the arrow was Li Xinai. Nan Luo Zhe clearly had the word disappointed on his face. After all, they had played this game too many times. Most of the people's secrets were clear to him, and it was purely for the sake of drinking and having fun. Most of the questions were the color of your underwear, the length of your $% etc. But today, they couldn't ask these questions since there were two girls here, and one of them was a very introverted girl. Nan Luo Zhe awkwardly thought about it. Since it was the first question, he didn't want to be too harsh. After all, what goes around comes around. Perhaps Li Xinai would ask him later. "When was your first kiss?" The moment he asked the question, the three people present were all stunned. He vaguely felt that something was wrong. After all, in his long-term impression, the man sitting next to him hated women the most. Therefore, this question should be a giveaway question. Little did they know, when he clearly felt that the surrounding atmosphere was unusual, the gossip he heard a few days ago suddenly appeared in his mind. Could it be that all the gossip was true? Cool. Li Xinai cleared his throat as his eyes were filled with anger. After a while, he said, 7 days ago. Hey, check it out. Although Master's answer was a bit slow, what Master said was the truth. First, when Master returned home 7 days ago, when I did a routine scan on him, I could detect a girl's strawberry scent from his body. Second, he looked at his lips in the mirror for at least 2 hours. Chapter 10:13. At the same time, Li Xinai's face turned dark. He turned the wheel, and the arrow fell in Nan Luo Zhe's direction. As the saying goes, you have to pay for what you came for. Big brother, we've known each other for so many years. I knew it wasn't intentional the moment I looked over. You know what I mean? Nan Luo Zhe's eyes were a bit nervous. His beautiful lips were slightly pursed as he looked at Su Xiaoxiao on the side. This was his first time feeling that he cared about someone's gaze this much. It was more important than being judged in public. Sinai raised a brow and lazily leaned back on the sofa. There was a sparkle in his deep eyes as his lips curled into a beautiful curve. Big brother. Naturally, I'm asking the question we usually ask. Who was the one who invented the phrase, what goes around comes around? It actually made sense. Don't. Up to now, do you have more than 100 girlfriends or less? Luo Chen even took a cold breath for Nan Luo Zhe at that moment. This question really was ruthless. It was better to ask how many girlfriends he had right now. If it was this question, Nan Luo Zhe could naturally choose dare. But when a number 100 was mentioned, everyone's eyes would fall on the number 100. Su Xiao was a bit surprised. There was a faint haze in her clear eyes that was very faint. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't be able to see it at all. Dare. Nan Luo Zhe lowered his brows and picked up the red wine beside him, drinking it all. Li Sinai gave a very satisfied nod as his eyes became even deeper. This was his first time seeing the gentle Nan Luo Zhe become this impatient. For a girl. Nan Luo Zhe's arrow turned to Su Xiao. His originally angry face instantly turned gentle. But the next thing they said was, classmate Su Xiao, I'm going to ask a question. All right. Do you have someone you like? These words were repeated countless times in Nan Luo Zhe's heart. But when he said it, it was, what is your favorite weather? Pooh, oh my God. Luo Qingshun and Li Sinai helplessly looked at Nan Luo Zhe at the same time, feeling worried about his awkward question. Su Xiao was obviously stunned. Then she shyly tucked her hair behind her ear and said, it's cloudy. She didn't like the sun and always felt that she was a person who couldn't stand under the sun. The scorching sun would burn away all of her protective shell, making her feel dazzled. But she didn't like rainy days either. When it rained, Grandma's joints would always hurt. Her family was not well off and could not afford to buy things to keep her warm. Whenever it rained, she would always use a hot towel to apply to her grandmother's leg to ease her pain. She liked cloudy days. She didn't need to be pierced by the dazzling sunlight, and her grandmother wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Hey, check it out. This little beauty's answer is very honest. Her heartbeat didn't accelerate, and her blood didn't boil. Bear stood aside and turned around. He looked at Su Xiao and said, since this is a sincere truth, you will get a hug from Bear. Chapter 10:14. Big Bear was different from normal robots. It wasn't a square robot. Rather, it was a doll robot. It was dressed in coffee-colored clothes, looking like a koala, but it was much cuter than a koala. There was a giant LCD screen on its chest that showed all kinds of high-end data. Big Bear automatically raised its body temperature and gave Su Xiao a warm hug. Her face turned red, and she couldn't help feeling shy. This was her first time being hugged like this. It was something she had never felt before. Cool. Nan Luo Zhe awkwardly cleared his throat. That's enough. Big Bear can feel a bit of anger from this man. Big Bear stood up with a harmless look. Is there something about Big Bear that you're not satisfied with? I've never been satisfied with you. Nan Luo Zhe pursed his lips. Thinking of how the robot had hugged Su Xiao, there was a bit of anger that filled his heart. The gentle and elegant him had actually gone against the robot. Oh, Big Bear gave a long response. After thinking for a bit, it continued. If this mister isn't satisfied, you shouldn't attack Big Bear because Big Bear's system was set by the master. This pot, it was thrown well. The helpless person became Li Sinai in an instant. He had to reinstall this robot system when he had time. It definitely couldn't be this open. The most important thing was that it could never say anything about the master's privacy. Xiao, it's your turn. Luo Qingshun pushed her hand as she looked at her. She never thought that the person Su Xiao would turn to was her. Li Sinai and Nan Luo Zhe clearly felt that this was a very boring question. What kind of exciting question could a girl ask? Not to mention that Su Xiao was such an introverted girl. Even Luo Qingshun was on the same side as them. After all, in her impression, Su Xiao would ask her all kinds of boring questions. For example, what color do you like? What pattern do you like? What subject do you like? Something like that. However, Luo Qingshun didn't expect that Su Xiaoxiao would ask her a question that even she didn't think of. Ong. She lowered her head slightly and looked at Luo Qingshun with a chuckle. Does Qingshun have someone she likes? I'm going, Li Xinai said. Explosive, Nan Luo Zhe said. Xiao Xiao. Luo Qingshun's eyebrows twitched slightly as a faint smile appeared on her lips. She looked at Xiao Xiao's panicked expression and said, I really can't underestimate how your brain works. The next second, Luo Qingshun cleared her throat and looked around at everyone's faces. They all seemed to have a slight expectation, wanting to know the answer. Cough, cough, she coughed dryly and said, I won't tell you. In the next second, she raised a glass of red wine in her right hand and drank it in one gulp. Bear, who was beside her, did not forget to run over and refill her glass in high spirits. He added his usual professional remarks. Hey, check it out. Classmate Qingshun's alcohol tolerance must be quite good. She didn't want to praise herself at all. The number of times the previous host went to bars wasn't less than the 2 men in front of her, so naturally her alcohol tolerance was super good. Chapter 10:15. After a glass of wine, Luo Qingshun's face was as white as water, and there wasn't a blush on it. Even Nan Luo Zhe was a bit surprised. He always thought that there was an 80% chance that the 2 girls in front of him would get drunk with a single glass, but he never thought that he would fall for a 20% chance. It was Luo Qingshun's turn. Fate was very subtle. The person she turned to was Li Xinai. It's only a 1 in 4 chance. What is there to be lucky about? The system gave a helpless shrug before suddenly saying this. Luo Qingshun was too lazy to care about her system. She looked at Li Xinai and said, Can you tell the difference between a kiss and artificial respiration? Ding, affection has increased by 20. Mission completion rate is now 40%. She didn't expect that such a small problem would cause her to gain so many favorable impression points. Other than Li Xinai and the other 2, they were all looking at him in shock. Especially Nan Luo Zhe. His eyes were wide open and his mouth was slightly open, looking like he was stunned. In his heart, the only person in this world who dared to ask Li Xinai this kind of question was probably Luo Qingshun. There was no obvious change in Li Xinai's eyes, but he could feel that his deep eyes had become even darker. It was like an empty universe that was filled with sparkling liguang. After a while, his slender hand touched the glass of red wine on the side as he said, I won't tell you. Then he drank it all. Su Xiaoxiao on the side was a bit stunned as she thought. What is with these 3? It was clearly a simple question. Why did they drink? This time it was Li Xinai's turn again. He finally turned to the person he wanted to turn to the most, Luo Qingshun. Everyone held their breaths and stared at him. Even Su Xiaoxiao, who had always been dull, had an expectant expression at this moment. Nan Luo Zhe was the same. His ears perked up, wanting to hear Li Xinai's question as soon as possible. Li Xinai raised a brow. It was probably because of the alcohol, but there was a blush on his handsome face. His mind was filled with the image of her taking his bow tie and bringing it to her side. You? Just as he was about to speak, Luo Qingshun did not hesitate to pick up the red wine that Bear had just poured for her. She gulped it down and said, Don't ask. I definitely don't want to answer. See, Nan Luo Zhe took a deep breath as he looked at Luo Qingshun with a look of admiration. She was indeed the girl that young Master C had his eyes on. She was really different. Luo Qingshun, you. Li Xinai was filled with anger, but he couldn't show it. She could only bite her lip and look at him angrily. Li Xinai, why are you calling me by my surname? Luo Qingshun slightly knit her brows and pursed her lips. How rude. You're also calling me by my surname. But you were the one who called me first. Yao, check it out. Big Bear thinks that both sides are in the wrong, so you need to reflect on each other. You need to write a guarantee, so you won't make the same mistake in the future. Luo Qingshun bit her lip and looked at Li Xinai with a dissatisfied look. When are you going to remake this robot? It's simply not cute. Li Xinai gave a proud snort before looking at her. Tomorrow. Chapter 10:16. At that moment, her faint smile charmed everyone's eyes. Of course, this didn't include Li Xinai. because Li Xinai's eyes had been on Luo Qingshun the entire time. This game of truth or dare came to an end at this point, because everyone chose dare and didn't choose truth. It was worth mentioning that when Su Xiao drank her first glass of red wine, she fell onto the table and lost consciousness. Luo Qingshun's expression didn't change after drinking several glasses, but there was a faint blush on her white cheeks. She didn't remember what happened after that. She just knew that Big Bear brought over bottle after bottle of red wine, and she and Li Xinai drank one glass after another. As for Nan Luo Zhe, when Su Xiao fell drunk, he carried her to the sofa on the side. Then he sat on the floor beside the sofa with a glass of red wine in his hand as he chatted. The night passed just like that. When the sun shined on Luo Qingshun the next day, she found that it was already 7:30. "We're late." She suddenly jumped up and pulled Su Xiao, who was still rubbing her eyes as she ran back to her house. Li Xinai slowly opened his eyes, and his hand was a bit numb. There seemed to be a small head leaning on his arm last night. It was a bit heavy, but it made him feel a bit at ease. "What do we do?" "Qingshun, I don't have a uniform." "What do we do?" "Qingshun, I didn't go back to the dorm last night." "What do we do?" "Qingshun, will we be late?" Luo Qingshun never thought that Su Xiao, who had always been silent, would become so talkative because she woke up late in the morning. "We shouldn't be late." Luo Qingshun gave her a new uniform. "Wear this first. We should be around the same size." They really were in a rush. After they brushed their teeth and washed their faces, they put on some moisturizer before heading out. But she never thought that when she opened the door, she would see those two handsome figures who were even faster than them. Could it be that boys were always faster than girls, no matter what situation they were in? This was a question that she had to think about. Sitting in Li Xinai's other Porsche, Luo Qingshun suddenly felt it was a bit funny. They were enemies who were arguing with each other a few days ago, but they were actually going to school together today. "Relax, we won't be late." Nan Luo Zhe turned his head and comforted Su Xiao in the back seat. After all, Su Xiao's nervousness, Luo Qingshun could guess the reason. This was because there was an unwritten rule in Imperial Capital Aristocratic Academy. Students who were not late, even once in a month, would receive a reward of 100 yuan. But this rule's rule, Luo Qingshun, she wanted to use this month's 100 to buy a warm bag for her grandmother. That way, when it was winter, her grandmother's feet would always be warm. Although Li Xinai didn't understand why Su Xiao was so nervous, Luo Qingshun kept urging him from behind, so he rushed to the school gate as fast as he could. It was 7:55, they weren't late. Chapter 10:17. God, young Master Li came to school this early today. This is my first time meeting young Master Li at school. I'm so excited. Lucky day, lucky day. The crowd all took out their phones to take pictures of Li Xinai getting out. Mi Xuanna and Yin Shui Qing not far away also stopped and came over. "Big Sister Nana, young Master Li is so early today." Yin Shui Qing said this while tightly holding her neck with her scarf. Her body, injuries, and feet had been scratched by rats last night, and she had been given an emergency injection in the middle of the night. She wanted to ask for leave today, but Mi Xuanna said that she had to come to school and properly teach those two commoners a lesson. "AI, it's a good thing I came today. Otherwise I would have missed young Master Li." Mi Xuanna put her rat-bitten hand into the pocket of her uniform and walked towards Li Xinai's Porsche. Li Xinai was the first to get out, and Nan Luo Zhe, in the front passenger seat, was the second to get out. The two school hunks of the Royal Academy were together. This was definitely a rare sight. The crowd all took out their phones to take pictures. "Yeah, it's young Master Nan," Yin Shui Qing called out as she waved her hand at Nan Luo Zhe. Nan Luo Zhe seemed to notice this voice and slightly knit his brows. He looked not far away before immediately looking away. But just this one glance made Yin Shui Qing especially excited. Big Sister Nana, did you see that? Young Master Nan. Young Master Nan is looking at me." For Yin Shui Qing, who had been Nan Luo Zhe's girlfriend for 3 days, this kind of gaze was special. "Cuckoo," Mi Xuanna reluctantly said. Yes. Actually, Mishwana was a bit uncomfortable since she was standing here with Yin Shui-Qing. Nan Luo Zhe looked at Yin Shui-Qing, but Li Sinai didn't look at her at all. Big sister Nana, don't be unhappy. Yin Shui-Qing took out a mirror to look at herself as she said, perhaps young master Li isn't looking here at all. When she said this, there was a trace of pride in her voice. It was like she was showing off that Nan Luo Zhe was looking at her, and not Mishwana. It was like she was saying, what was so great about a first-class noble miss? She was nothing if no one loved her. Yin Shui-Qing, what are you being so cocky for? Mishwana naturally heard the meaning behind Yin Shui-Qing's words and unwillingly said, you make it sound like young master Nan is very loyal. Just as the two of them were secretly mocking each other, a cry of wow attracted their attention. After Li Sinai and Nan Luo Zhe got out, they went to the back seats and opened the doors. The people who came out were none other than Luo Qingchen and Su Xiaoxiao, the two thorns in their hearts. Oh my God, the girl beside young Master C. Is she the one from the field that day? D*MN. Could it be that her initiative really attracted young Master C's attention? I feel that this kind of proactive girl is so shameless. Girls should be reserved, don't they? What are you guessing for? She probably just brought her along. Although young Master C has never brought a girl before, young Master N has brought a lot of girls. While everyone was discussing, Mishwana and Yin Shui-Qing's expressions became extremely unsightly. Chapter 10:18. Slut. Such a disgusting commoner actually wants to be with young Master Nan. Yin Shui-Qing's good mood fell to the bottom. Because this scene had appeared in her fantasies before. It was a pity that the main characters weren't her and Mishwana, but rather two commoners. All of you shut up for me. Li Sinai narrowed his cold eyes, and a chill came from his body. He indeed didn't like hearing people say bad things about her from these strange mouths. Even when he argued with her, he didn't say anything bad about her. These people, what qualifications did they have? As soon as Li Sinai's voice fell, the crowd fell silent. Luo Qingchen was too lazy to care about this, so she took Su Xiaoxiao's hand and walked into the school. She knew that the school's gossip would explode, so no matter where she went, she would hear whispers. Most of them were negative, but she was fine with these words. After all, she liked standing in the center of things, standing in the center of public criticism. But Su Xiaoxiao, she wasn't used to these gazes at all. These whispers only pushed her closed heart to the extreme. Cool. Teacher Gu was on the podium talking about the school celebration this time. First was the 4x100-meter relay, and then the performances of each class. The girls will participate in the 4x100-meter relay this time. The girls who have already participated once can choose not to participate. Teacher Gu said this while making some changes on the list, finally deciding on the list for their class to participate in the 4x100-meter relay. This included Luo Qingchen and Su Xiaoxiao. What to do, I can't run. Su Xiaoxiao lowered her head, as if she was filled with thoughts, as she tightly rubbed her hands together. She had been very troubled these past few days, being pointed at wherever she went. When she passed the library yesterday, someone even splashed water on her face, but she could only stand there in a daze, listening to those ugly words and saying sorry in a small voice. When she went back to the dorm to rest, she found that her roommates who would occasionally talk to her ignored her. Although they were all normal students, they didn't do anything excessive. But this kind of terrible cold violence made her feel even more hurt. She didn't dare to tell Luo Qingchen. She was afraid that after she told her, she would stand up for her without hesitation, making her even more of a target of public criticism. Yeah, me neither. Luo Qingchen shook her head gently and said, but it doesn't matter. It's not a competition anyway. It's just an opening relay. Moreover, she didn't really care about such things. But I think you can participate in the performance. Luo Qingchen looked at her and said, I heard that you play the harp very well. Of course, this was not what she had heard. One day, she had accidentally found an exam certificate in one of Su Xiaoxiao's literature books. There were 4 big words written on it. Harp level 10. She was stunned. Obviously, she didn't expect Luo Qingshun to know about this. She had to stammer, "Don't tell the teacher, I don't want to go." Now, she was already at the cusp of the storm. For a poor, ugly, cowardly person like her, this kind of pressure had already reached her limit. Chapter 1019. Luo Qingshun thought for a long time about how to increase Su Xiaoxiao's confidence, but it was already the 100-year anniversary of the Royal Academy. The 4x100 torch relay at the opening ceremony was something that was held every year during the school's anniversary celebration. It represented youth and vitality. In the lounge, other than Luo Qingshun's group of 4, the rest were all noble students. This included Mi Xuanna and Yin Shui Qing. The two of them weren't willing to participate in this show-off event in their hearts, but when they knew that Luo Qingshun and Su Xiaoxiao were participating, they naturally wanted to do something. "Yo, isn't this Miss Commoner? People like you who only know how to study and earn money for living expenses can participate in sports?" Mi Xuanna was wearing the latest white sports suit, and her slightly curled hair was tied into a princess braid, looking very noble. Luo Qingshun pulled Su Xiaoxiao behind her and said with cold eyes, "It seems like all those rats can't shut you up. How about we switch to snakes next time?" "You cheap person, it really was you." Mi Xuanna's expression changed, and she charged forward with bared fangs. But she suddenly thought of the loss she suffered in the commoner class and clenched her fists, stopping herself. "Whether it's me or not." Luo Qingshun gave a cold laugh. There was a layer of frost in her eyes as she looked at her and said, "Do you have proof?" Yes, she didn't have proof. She had watched the surveillance in the coffee shop that day, but she didn't see anyone approach them. The rats seemed to appear out of thin air and drilled into their bodies. Thinking about it now, her hair stood on end, and it was disgusting. Good. Mi Xuanna bit her lip. "Don't blame me for not reminding you. My status can make the two of you disappear from the Royal Academy forever." This wasn't a joke. If it wasn't for Li Xinai and Nan Luo Zhe protecting them, what couldn't she do with her status as the Mi Group's young miss? Even killing a person wasn't excessive. "Oh," Luo Qingshun raised a brow. "Let's wait and see." The next second, she took Su Xiaoxiao's hand and walked outside. As soon as he walked out of the lounge, the PE teacher walked in with a stack of sportswear and shoes in his hands. He said, "The principal said that the opening ceremony must be unified. It's custom-made according to your school uniform and shoes. Look at the name and don't take the wrong one." As soon as the PE teacher finished speaking, Mi Xuanna's face flashed with a very faint expression. She glanced at Xiao Yu, who was also a commoner, and said, "You come here." However, when Luo Qingshun and Su Xiaoxiao returned to the lounge, there was no one left. There were only 2 white transparent bags, one with Luo Qingshun's name and the other with Su Xiaoxiao's name. She frowned and glanced at her sportswear and shoes. There were no problems. However, Su Xiaoxiao was missing a pair of shoes. It must be that Mi Xuanna and Yin Shui Qing. Luo Qingshun slightly knit her brows. "Were my shoes? I'll go find her." These 2 idiots really wouldn't cry until they saw the coffin. Why would she give these people a chance to jump? If this was a world with spiritual energy, she would take out the exquisite ring and get rid of them. Chapter 1020. Luo Qingshun never thought that Mi Xuanna's thoughts weren't as simple as taking Su Xiaoxiao's shoes. When they were standing on the track, Xiao Yu suddenly walked towards Su Xiaoxiao with a pair of shoes. Her movements were a bit unnatural, but Luo Qingshun was 200 meters away, so she couldn't see it clearly. But Su Xiaoxiao looked at Xiao Yu with a very moved expression. Xiao Yu was her roommate, and because of her relationship with Nan Luo Zhe, everyone in the dorm ignored her. Now that Xiao Yu suddenly took her shoes, naturally her face was filled with joy. "Xiao, your shoes were thrown into the trash by them." Xiao Yu pursed her lips and her eyes trembled. I picked them up for you." Thank you." Su Xiaoxiao's eyes were filled with tears. Xiao Yu didn't dare look into her eyes, so she looked away. After giving her the shoes, Xiao Yu ran to her track in a panic. Su Xiaoxiao didn't see anything wrong at all. She took off her half-worn shoes and put on her sneakers. But when she put on a pair of sneakers, Her fingertips trembled slightly, and she bit her lips lightly. The sneakers were covered in 502 and were firmly stuck to her feet. The left side of the shoe was covered in pushpins. As long as she didn't run and raised her hand, her feet wouldn't be hurt. There were only 5 minutes left until the competition began, so their F-Class's 4x100 score meant they automatically forfeited. Ever since she was young, no matter how miserable her family was, her grandmother would always tell her that when God closes a door for you, He will definitely open a window for you. But she couldn't see the window. Actually, she could run away at this moment, running away like before, looking at the other people holding their stomachs and hearing the mocking voices of others. At the same time, it cast a shadow that was hard to erase over the so-called F-Class. She could be laughed at endlessly, but she didn't want the people who cared about her to be laughed at. After all, the girl not far away was her only friend. In the next second, she furrowed her brows and made an extremely bold decision. She carefully put on the other white sneaker and nodded her head, which had always been as low as it could be. Luo Qingshun squinted at Su Xiaoxiao, who was 200 meters away, and frowned. Nan Luo Zhe's eyes turned from Su Xiaoxiao to Luo Qingshun as he mouthed, "Something is wrong with Xiaoxiao. What is this situation?" Luo Qingshun gently shook her head, indicating that she didn't know. At the same time, Mi Xuana and Yin Shuiqing were even more shocked. They targeted Su Xiaoxiao instead of Luo Qingshun because Su Xiaoxiao was easier to fool than Luo Qingshun. Xiaoyu was her roommate. As long as they started from this point, it was easy to make Xiaoyu wear the pair of shoes they carefully prepared for her. But what they didn't expect was Su Xiaoxiao didn't leave. Instead, she put on the shoes and stood up. Mi Xuana and Yin Shuiqing looked at each other with eyes filled with confusion. They wanted to use this chance to make the so-called F-Class, the so-called commoners, make a fool of themselves at the opening ceremony. They never thought that they would be one step behind. Chapter 10:21. There was a clear gap in the first two legs. Class A was first, and Class F was last. The main reason was that in the lounge, Mi Xuana had given each of them 1,000 yuan to act. She couldn't run too slowly to make others suspect her, and she couldn't run too fast to win. When it came to the third leg, Su Xiaoxiao gritted her teeth and ran as fast as she could. There was nothing in her mind at this moment. She just wanted to give the baton to the only person she could trust. Her white sneakers had already been dyed red by blood as she ran, and the blood fell onto the rubber track drop by drop. A cowardly girl was being stubborn for the first time. When Su Xiaoxiao came closer, Luo Qingshun suddenly noticed that her feet were dyed red with blood. She wanted to take her to the infirmary, but that girl who had always been aloof and submissive said to her in a firm voice, "Qingshun, I'll leave it to you." The moment she took the baton, Mi Xuana had already run 50 meters. If she gritted her teeth and chased after her, she might have a chance to win. But at this moment, Luo Qingshun didn't want that so-called noble to lose too easily. Ding! 500 exchange points has been taken. Successfully exchanged for space and time freeze. Luo Qingshun narrowed her eyes as she walked step by step towards the proud Mi Xuana. The moment she stood in front of her, she could clearly see her expression. That pair of white eyes that were rolled to the sky. That crooked mouth that was filled with joy and ridicule. She didn't feel that this kind of stupid thing could easily cause a girl to be seriously hurt. At this moment, she suddenly felt a bit of disdain for this so-called noble. Using this kind of despicable method to do this kind of dirty thing, their hearts were all dirty. System, calling the system. Host, please speak. Why don't you give me a few nails? The host isn't even willing to use exchange points for small things like this. She wants the system to give it to her. You said it yourself, such things in the mortal world are very cheap in your world. Ding, there are 5 nails in the right pocket of the host's sports clothes. Give, the system will give, okay? Luo Qingshun's brows moved slightly. She placed the 5 tacks on the ground and adjusted Mi Xuana's running posture. This way, as long as the space-time freeze ended, Mi Xuana would instantly fall and be pierced by the thumbtacks on the ground. This move of giving someone a taste of their own medicine might not be very glorious, but the goal had already been achieved, so why should he care about these details? She walked back to her original position and snapped her fingers. Then, she said to Su Xiao, "Don't worry." As soon as she finished speaking, she rushed out with the baton. Other than Na, there were other classes on the 8th Ring's rubber track. If he wanted to win, it was impossible without some skills. The whistling wind, coupled with Na's screams, made her run even faster. There was a kind of boiling blood burning in her heart, constantly filling her with fighting spirit. The 4x100-meter race, which he had originally thought was insignificant, suddenly had a desire to win at this moment. A strong belief could make people do unexpected things, not to mention running 100 meters quickly. In the end, she reached the finish line at the same time as the 4th runner of Class B, tying for first place. When she looked at Su Xiao, the two handsome men who had attracted thousands of people had already rushed down. They were against the light and had anxious looks on their faces. It really looked like Chapter 1022. Nan Luo Zhe naturally walked towards Su Xiao first. His brows were tightly knit and his heart was beating fast. This was his first time having this feeling. It was a very strange feeling. It was like there was a special kind of worry that came from the depths of his heart. When he saw the pair of shoes covered in blood, he confirmed the thought in his heart. Su Xiao. He softly called her. Seeing her pale face, she pursed her lips in embarrassment and kept her distance from him. Without knowing why, there was a pain in his heart. Li Xinai often mentioned Su Xiao and Luo Qingchen, telling him that Luo Qingchen's personality was much better than Su Xiao's. Although she had a poisonous tongue, she wasn't afraid at all. She always had the personality of a proud female lead, shining no matter where she went. But in his eyes, if he could do it all over again, the first person he saw would be Su Xiao, and the one he fell in love with would be Su Xiao. She softly replied. She slightly knit her brows when she moved back, but she still looked at him with a faint smile. "Classmate Nan, why did you come down?" "I'm looking for you." He said these two words almost decisively, his deep eyes full of focus as he looked at her. In the next second, there was a sigh from the crowd. "Wasn't that person young Master Nan's girlfriend a long time ago?" "That's right. It's already been 3 days. Why is she still pestering young Master Nan?" "So disgusting. She looks like a commoner. What to do? My heart feels so good. Why is young Master Nan so good to a commoner? She has skills. She's pretending to be a white lotus, moving forward and retreating. She looks very unwilling on the surface, but she can't wait to pounce on him in her heart. Say, so deep. It's a good thing I don't know this kind of person." Su Xiao's eyes trembled as she bit her lip and lowered her head. Although she seemed to be used to this kind of gossip, when the unpleasant words entered her ears once again, her fragile heart was still defeated in minutes. "Are you done?" Nan Luo Zhe narrowed his eyes as he looked at the people around him with a fierce look that he had never had before. "Look at the situation if you want to gossip. Unless you want to become enemies with Nan Luo Zhe, then come." His words were sonorous and forceful, with a hint of dominance and anger. Everyone present shut their mouths at this moment, except for Yin Shuiqing. "Young Master Nan, you can't be fooled by her." In the next second, everyone's gazes landed on Yin Shuiqing. She pointed at Su Xiao's nose and strode over. "It seems that you intend to make me your enemy?" Nan Luo Zhe's eyes narrowed as he protected Su Xiao behind him. His lips curled into a cold smile as he looked at Yin Shuiqing. Yin Shuiqing looked at Nan Luo Zhe with an aggrieved look. She bit her lip and said, "How could I be young Master Nan's enemy? I just can't stand this fox using tricks to win your sympathy." Why? Why was it that the person he desperately wanted was always surrounded by a commoner? If she lost a noble like Na, she wouldn't say anything, but why did it have to be this fatherless, motherless, and trash that stole the man in her heart? Chapter 1023. At this moment, the surrounding girls sucked in a breath of cold air again. This was the first time young Master Nan had called the other side his girlfriend like this. Su Xiao was stunned, never thinking that Nan Luo Zhe would princess carry her in this situation. She could only feel her heart pounding and the blood in her body boiling. The heat even made her forget the pain in her feet. She didn't know where to put her hands, so she carefully put them over her heart and buried her face in embarrassment. This was her first time being princess carried by a man like this in her life. Girlfriend. Yin Shui Qing didn't give up as she bit her lip. Young master, Nan has many girlfriends. I know that you won't like her soon. Whether they were beautiful, ugly, fat, or thin, the people he was with wouldn't last more than 3 days. It was because of this that even if the girls by his side kept changing, she could keep waiting. Because she knew that those girls wouldn't be the ones with the last laugh. He gave a cold laugh as his beautiful eyes narrowed. That is because I haven't met true love yet. These short words revealed the deepest secret of this playboy. I don't believe it. Yin Shui Qing desperately shook her head in disbelief. She raised her hand and fiercely said, I'll beat you to death, you vixen. I don't hit women, but don't force me. His eyes were filled with extreme anger that made Yin Shui Qing's hand stop in the air. As soon as his voice fell, he carried Su Xiao in his arms to the infirmary without even looking back. Yin Shui Qing stood there like a loser. This was her first time seeing Nan Luo Zhe like this. He didn't have his usual gentle elegance. Rather, he was filled with anger. For the person in his arms, Nan Luo Zhe didn't even care about his image. When this grudge began, Li Xinai walked towards Luo Qingshun with 2 bottles of cola in his hand. When he passed by Mi Xuanna looked at him with an excited gaze, but he didn't stop because her legs were covered in blood. Rather, he walked towards Luo Qingshun, who was standing at the finish line. Not bad. Li Xinai handed the cola to her, as his lips curled into a faint smile. Could it be that this is the legendary simple mind and developed limbs? Luo Qingshun was planning on taking his cola, but hearing what he said, she took back her hand without giving him any face. She looked at him and said, Even if my mind is simple, I can make you speechless so easily. That means that you can't compare to me. Eloquent. Li Xinai put the cola in her hand. Xiao Zhao's words, little Luo Zhe. He seemed to be indifferent to many things, but on some things, he seemed to be bursting with righteousness. She wasn't afraid of power. She wasn't afraid of others holding a grudge. Most of the time, Xiao Luo's heart. Luo Qingshun gave a soft snort. She looked at Nan Luo Zhe, holding Su Xiao not far away, and casually said, Thank you for your cola. As soon as her voice fell, she chased after Su Xiao. It was all because of Li Xinai's sudden appearance that she almost forgot about Su Xiao. At this moment, she suddenly felt that there was a phrase that suited her. What was it called? Host, this is called valuing love over friendship. Chapter 10:24. Young Master Nan. This student's foot injury is too serious, and because of the strong friction, she has touched her nerves, so she needs to be sent to the hospital as soon as possible. The doctor in the infirmary naturally knew that the girl Nan Luo Zhe brought in wasn't normal, so he seriously explained this. Nan Luo Zhe looked at Su Xiao's shocking injury, and his right fist couldn't help clenching. Someone who did such a cruel and despicable thing, he would definitely make them pay the price. Hospital. Su Xiao shook her head. I won't go to the hospital. A normal person like her naturally knew that going to the hospital would cost a lot of money. She didn't have any money. Even when she had a 40-degree fever before, she wasn't willing to go to the hospital. She just wrapped herself in a blanket and forced herself to pass. Now that it was just a small injury, she couldn't go to the hospital. Why aren't you going to the hospital? Nan Luo Zhe looked at Su Xiao with a look of disappointment. He picked up the gauze on the side and softly tapped her head before saying to the doctor on the side, Call an ambulance for me. Pa. As soon as his voice fell, there was a clap that came from the door of the infirmary. It came from Li Xinai, and of course there was Luo Qingshun standing beside him. The hero saving the beauty isn't bad. Luo Qingshun gave a shrug before looking at Su Xiao's injury. I've never seen you this bold before. Why did you go all out today? She was a bit surprised before rubbing her fingers together like her heart had been poked. I'm a bit unwilling. It should be because after being with Luo Qingshun for so long, she suddenly yearned for her daring personality. Even if she couldn't be that reckless, at least she didn't want to appear weak in front of those people. She would lose face for Luo Qingshun and Nan Luo Zhe. Send her to the hospital first. I'm afraid she won't be able to perform tonight. Luo Qingshun gave a shrug. I can already imagine teacher Gu going crazy. Speaking of this, teacher Gu usually looked amiable, but as soon as the topic of artistic performances was brought up, she would become particularly irritable. The 4x100 opening ceremony ended smoothly amid sighs. Su Xiao and Mi Shui Na were both sent to the hospital. Moreover, they were all high-class wards. After all, with the two handsome men Li Xinai and Nan Luo Zhe standing there, she couldn't not enter the high-class ward. The doctor said that although Su Xiaoxiao's foot was seriously injured, fortunately, it did not hurt her nerves and would not affect her running in the future. However, he paid special attention these few days. He tried his best to sit in a wheelchair to prevent his wound from tearing and getting infected. At 7:30, Luo Qingshun was leaning on the sofa with Li Xinai watching the latest episode of Poppy Flower Kindergarten. Without knowing why, Li Xinai suddenly liked this feeling. He could use the same headset as a girl and watch the same cartoon. It was a feeling that he had never felt before. The faint fragrance coming from her body reminded him of the strawberry taste that had remained in his mouth that day. He was originally arrogant, despotic, and insufferably arrogant. When she met someone she cared about, she couldn't compare to Nan Luo's. No, he had to say something and take the initiative to attack. That, Luo Qingshun. It was a coincidence that Su Xiao lying on the bed cut him off. Chapter 1025. This time, the song that second-year F class was supposed to perform was an ancient style, Full Moon Flowers. Luo Qingshun's zither and Su Xiao's harp were supposed to be the main melody, but now that the two of them weren't here, they could only give up. But the funny thing was that second-year A class also chose this song, but they performed it with Western instruments. Before the competition began, the teacher in charge of second-year A class kept reminding them that although the pillar wasn't here, they still had to win. Teacher, be assured. Yan Shuiqing gave a shrug and said with a relaxed look, just based on how expensive our instruments are, the tone we play can throw away their inferior instruments by several streets. Right, teacher, be assured. Shuiqing's violin is super good. It's just that the tone was covered before. A fat girl didn't forget to flatter Yan Shuiqing while Mi Shuina wasn't here. After all, what goes around comes around. Now that Mi Shuina's thigh was injured, she wouldn't be back for a long time, so she had to find someone to take care of her. It's best if it's like this. The proud teacher flicked her hair and looked at her nails as she said, Actually, I'm not worried about you since the people of F class are just too bad. A bunch of idiots who only know how to study. They even want to take a place in literature. Why don't they look in the mirror and see if they can afford instruments? She hated the teacher in charge of F class with the surname Gu the most. She was clearly a commoner, but she could teach in the imperial capital. This was simply a rotten apple. When it was 8 o'clock, a group of girls from grade 2 class went up the stage. However, they were short of 2 people. Li Xinai, who played the piano, and Nan Luo Zhe, who played the guitar, but they still had Yan Shuiqing, who played the violin, and Mi Shui Na, who played the cello. It was a pity that Mi Shui Na wasn't here. When an incomparably simple violin melody sounded, the music teachers below all shook their heads in whispers. After all, Yan Shuiqing didn't play the violin that well, so she was a bit weak when she had to play alone. The girls behind her couldn't find the right pitch. What Yan Shuiqing didn't expect was that when the music entered the second beat, there was light shining down from the other side of the stage. The sound of a piano slowly rang out like the rhythm of flowing water. The slender fingertips danced on the black and white keys with extreme luxury. The spring breeze blows into my heart. I miss you so much that I can't fall asleep. Why can't you understand the meaning of the falling flowers? You can only look at the bright moon outside the window. Li Xinai. The music on the other half of the stage was completely overshadowed. Everyone knew that this was the legendary Guqin duel. In the next second, the lights on the stage continued to shine down from another direction. The sound of guitar slowly rang out, bringing with it a shallow melody and moving singing. The moon hangs high, curved like your eyebrows. My heart, that misses you can only move forward and not retreat. I say, do you know that the flowing water is not heartless? It takes you to the palace in the sky. Nan Luo Zhe, my God, what is this situation? I just heard that young Master Li and young Master Nan aren't participating. Show. The light fell down and shined onto Luo Qingqian's white cheeks. With the sound of the system's exchange, there was the beautiful Guqin that beautifully appeared. Chapter 10:26. Luo Qingqian silently said in her heart, "Why didn't the previous host learn the piano? It would be great if it was the piano." She felt that her piano skills were already at the 10th level. She didn't need to waste exchange points at all. The host can also practice the zither. Scram, rough 1 second and sweet the next. This must be what Luo Qingqian was like right now. When the lights above her fell onto her face, the sound of her zither was like pearls falling onto a jade plate, bringing with it a sense of enjoyment. On this night of flowers and full moon, the two hearts are in love. On this night of flowers and full moon, the lovers become a pair. I say you, who else in this world can fly side by side with you? Luo Qingqian. When Luo Qingqian appeared, the people under the stage went from exclamations to discussions. My God, what is this situation? Isn't that person from F class? So envious. She's actually performing on the same stage as young Master C and young Master Nan. I'm so envious. I'll say something fair. Her singing really isn't bad. Traitor, you'll scram to the commoner class tomorrow. After that, all the lights fell onto Su Xiao's face. She was sitting in a wheelchair, holding an old harp in her hand. This harp was given to her by her grandmother. She couldn't afford a new one, so she kept using it. Although the harp was very old, the sound was very nice to hear. A wisp of green smoke slowly swirled. When will the bright moon appear? When will the bright moon appear? Holding a cup of wine and asking the clear sky. Holding a cup of wine and asking the clear sky. Don't know the palace in the sky. Palace, what year is this night? What year is this night? The first half was sung by Su Xiao, and the second half was sung by the three of them. This was their first time on the same stage, and they had never rehearsed, but they were doing the same thing with tacit understanding. At this moment, the four of them were filled with indescribable excitement. Ding! Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 50%. Luo Qingqian gave a soft laugh as her lips curled slightly. If she could increase affection for Li Xinai at this moment, it would definitely be 100. After all, this feeling was too wonderful. On the other side of the stage, he tried to make some noise from time to time to attract attention. Unfortunately, even when Yan Shuiqing broke the strings of her violin, she was still unable to overshadow the other party. They had lost this battle too miserably. But to Class A, they hadn't lost yet. At the end of the song, the audience applauded enthusiastically. This time, the applause did not belong to any one person, but to the song. They performed a song with a combination of classical and Western instruments. It was dedicated to this song about the trivial matter of unrequited love, the full moon, and the flowers. Did you see that? This is our Class A student. This is the demeanor of the school hunk. Below the stage, the form teacher of Class A applauded madly. She did not forget to roll her eyes at the form teacher of Class F, Teacher Gu, who was standing beside her. Although Yan Shuiqing's performance was very embarrassing, Class A did not lose tonight. But there are people from our class up there, too. Teacher Gu muttered softly, not daring to confront the teacher of Class A. After all, between teachers, she was just an ordinary teacher. Trash. The teacher of Class A waved his hand and encouraged the students of Class A to shout their slogan. Class A will win. Class A will win. Class A will win. At this time, Nan Luo Zhe on stage picked up the microphone and said something unexpected. Chapter 10:27. This beautiful stage ended awkwardly because of Nan Luo Zhe's words. Class A's teacher's face froze as her eyes filled with confusion and anger. Teacher Gu, who was standing next door, glanced at her with a particularly pleasant expression. Although she didn't dare confront her, she wasn't afraid of her when she was confident and happy. In the end, Nanluo Zhe willfully transferred to F class, not caring about the gazes of others. Of course, other than Nanluo Zhe, there was also the arrogant school, Hunkley Sinai, who didn't care about this. Because of the arrival of these two important people, F class moved to the Noble Students Building. Teacher Gu was very satisfied because F class didn't just take first place in the school, they also took first place in the school celebration performance. Washing away their shame, they deserved it. Today is a big day. Not only did our class receive both academic and artistic achievements, we also have 2 transfer students. Teacher Gu had a smile, looking very happy. After all, after moving to the Noble Students Building, there were many empty seats. The 2 students transferring to F class this time were very good-looking, and they were both international students. The most important thing was that they requested to transfer to F class. The students in the class were very happy. After all, they were all normal people, and now that there were 2 handsome guys, they couldn't help feeling happy. Then ladies first. Teacher Gu waved her hand at the door, and Mi Ji came in. She was wearing a pink jacket and a gray plaid skirt. She had a baby face with a little bun on her head, looking very cute. Hello, everyone. I'm Emiji. Wow, so beautiful. The eyes of a fat boy in the 5th row of the second group lit up, and he couldn't help praising, "She's like a doll." Miji's family background is good, but she feels that since she's back in the country, she shouldn't receive special treatment. Teacher Gu nodded in satisfaction. She really is a sensible child. Luo Qing Chun narrowed her eyes and looked at Miji in front of her with a deep look in her eyes. They kept feeling that her eyes were looking in their direction. It felt very strange. I'm a Scorpio. I like to make friends, draw, and play basketball. It's just that I'm not good at math. Miji bowed politely. I hope that we can be good classmates and friends in the coming days. Clap, 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 clap. As soon as he finished speaking, the boys below clapped. It seemed that they were very satisfied with this new, obedient female student. Yes, you can choose any of the empty seats in the class. Teacher Gu stretched out her hand and smiled. You can sit alone if you like. No need, teacher. I don't need special treatment. Miji walked towards Su Jing with her cute backpack on her back and sat down beside him. Oh, class monitor finally has a desk mate. Ha, what a beauty. I'm so jealous. This is indeed an era where looks matter. Su Jing nodded politely. Welcome. In. She glanced around and answered casually, but her gaze fell on the seat in the back row. Behind her and Su Jing were Li Xinai and Nanluo Zhe. Although this wasn't the best golden seat, it was still a good seat.